the drawing board in the search for the suspect behind the murder of a 20-year-old woman whose mutilated body was found wrapped in a paper bag in Roysambu, Nairobi. It also emerged the killer had sent a picture to the family using Rita Waeni's mobile phone as he prepared to kill her as part of his efforts to push them to send a ransom he demanded. Wednesday, the team handling the probe conducted an identification parade at Kasarani police station on a suspect who had been arrested at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport as he left, but it was negative. Witnesses called to identify him said the suspect was old while the one wanted looked younger and lighter. The man, who was traveling using a Mozambican passport, was intercepted before boarding a plane and interrogated at the airport and then transferred to Kasarani police station for identification. And the team has stumbled upon details indicating Mwendo and Hakila met on Instagram. The information was obtained from the slain woman's account, which was cracked by detectives investigating the January 13th murder at an apartment in Roysambu, Nairobi. The investigators say the two kept off at the platforms like WhatsApp. This, according to the detectives, shows the man had a criminal motive. It is not clear for how long the two had been in touch. The suspect at one point told the woman he wanted to travel out of the country, hence the need for the meeting. And the family of Rita Waeni has revealed that the suspect in their daughter's murder demanded ransom. In a statement, the family stated that he asked for 500,000 shillings from the father before the death of their daughter made headlines. Meanwhile, female parliamentarians now want President William Ruto to declare femicide and other forms of GBV a national disaster. Kewap, in a statement, also called on the DCI and IG to speed up investigations into all ongoing femicide cases and bring perpetrators to book. Still on the corridors of justice, and the prosecution has been given 14 days to carry out a mental health assessment on Paul Mackenzie and 30 other co-accused persons before they stand trial for the alleged murder of the children victims. At least 238 children were among the 429 bodies of people exhumed from the vast Shakahola forest. They died after they were allegedly forced to fast for weeks. After a 9-month investigation, the DPP said Mackenzie and 30 others were responsible for the deaths of victims, mostly children. The case will be mentioned on February 6th. And the Court of Appeal has urged parties in the Kirima case to try and resolve the matter out of court. Judge Mohammed Warsame asked the parties to negotiate the matter and live together in peace. The court further urged the lawyers to be considerate when trying to resolve the dispute, adding that the parties in the case can reach a consent that will benefit all of them. Meanwhile, the three-judge bench has maintained the current status quo on the matter, meaning that over 5,000 occupants occupying the disputed land will not be evicted. The public hearings of the Affordable Housing Bill 2023 commenced in Narok and Embu counties despite a court order stopping the exercise from being conducted until the matter is heard and determined. The two events, which ran concurrently through a town hall setup, saw individuals and interest groups give their submissions to a joint parliamentary committee dominated by Kenya Kwanza members of parliament presiding over the matter. In Narok, the session, which was hosted at the Narok Town Social Hall, was presided over by members of National Assembly's Finance and National Planning Committee. In Embu, the exercise was conducted at the Talent Academy by the National Assembly's Departmental Committee on Housing, Urban Planning and Public Works, dominated by Kenya Kwanza MPs.
There was a concern that the price of these houses need to be affordable, need to be more affordable. So the sample of the houses in the market, there was a fear that we need to have houses that are slightly cheaper than that.
Kuna sheria iwezi pitishwa na sisi bila kuuliza nyinyi pia usome hiyo sheria kabla hatujapitisha, usome vizuri, mtuambie nyinyi mnaonaje, mngetaka tubadilishe nini.
And Police Constable Nicholas Musyoka, who shot and killed 2 people during a bar fight in Nakuru, will remain in police custody until Friday next week, when his bail ruling will be determined. Musyoka has denied charges of attempted murder and misuse of firearm. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
The man who looks at a beautiful girl and doesn't talk to her will end up serving lunch at her wedding.
Hi, City. Do like that.
My father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man?
Ameua panya.
Small mammal, big mammal.
Mtu atamshinda.
I mean, I don't understand.
What are they
How
saying?
are we comparison? I mean, you kill a mouse.
What are they saying?
What they're saying is, my father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man? Name, surprise. Someone's name.
The name surprised you?
No, the name is surprise.
No, what am I saying? I'm from Nigeria, man. I met somebody called I Believe. So
See?
Your name is I Believe? Yes, my name is I Believe. But that's the short form. I said, excuse me? I said, yes, my name is I Believe. So what's the full name? I believe in the goodness of God.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
If you go out of this country and come back the same person, then you have a problem.
Buy land, 1 million. Put it there for 5 years. What's the purpose?
It'll have increased in value.
No, that's the thing. That's darkness. You know, that's an eclipse. You don't do that.
I hope you don't believe that a hustler is a poor person or that all hustlers are poor. I've seen that conversation.
Tell us, who is a hustler?
So who's
Yeah.
a hustler? Hustler is a person who is making a living through hard work.
Corruption in Kenya is a political accusation. The people who are actually corrupt are not pointed fingers at.
Kenya is not free. Kenya imeshikwa na mateka. It's under siege.
Have you seen that lodge on Nyeri Road? Very high fence. You can't even
Windows
sleep inside.
up near the ceiling.
Yes. And if you walk there at midnight, you see bats the size of cows.
And when it rains, it doesn't rain on that building.
Yes.
When you're at All Saints and it's raining, it doesn't rain on that building.
The things people will believe.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Patrick Lodge, Otieno Lumumba. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
CT Muga.
CT Lodge.
Muga, not Muga.
He's here and here's the day's proverb.
One man marries a woman. Another man marries troubles.
Is he the same man?
Spice.
A lion cannot eat more than 2 donkeys. It would die a natural death because there is no ICU in the forest. In Kenya, it has become the situation that you cannot conduct 2 elections. In fact,
With the same
Bukati,
IBC.
You can't.
I told you about this Indian friend of mine who was enjoying other Indians in the group. He wrote the word valve and told them, read it.
So how did he say it? I really want to know.
The valve. Kina Ednah, it's the like you said, the B's and the P's. Kila kitu mkisia akisema atasema opposite.
Opposed?
Ukisema yeye anasema opposite.
Opposite.
Wewe ukisikiliza namna hii unasikia opposite.
The Situation Room.
Traffic on this Thursday morning, it looks like we'll not do anything crazy, at least not at this point. Roads are empty and moving. That means that not much happening. Folks are getting where they're going really quickly. Coming off Thika Superhighway, we've not seen any action just yet. Hasn't started to build up. And as you're coming out of Westlands on Waiyaki Way, you should be fine here as well. On Jogo Road, a little bit of movement, rather a little bit of a hold up right around the Makadara train station. But as you get towards Landis Road and then out towards the Kamkunji roundabout, you should be fine. Mombasa Road is looking good. You can use the Southern Bypass for that lovely morning drive out into the city or other places that you're going today. And so it looks like Thursday we started off right. Let's see how we get closer to the start of traffic hour. But now we're all right. We'll talk in the meantime on SpiceFM, KE on X.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth,
Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
Yes, it
the
is.
only way to start your day.
Of 2024. Like that. Keep counting. And they will be gone. It's already 18 days down. What's that song called? 18 doors down. Is it called 18 doors down?
I know the one you're talking about.
12 doors down. What's it called?
Something like that. Well, something, and there's a
Or is
number
it the
of
band
doors.
that's called Doors Down? Something Doors Down. Is it the group that's called that, or is it a song? I think it's a group. Huh? 12 doors down. It's something like that, isn't
There's
it?
something.
Yeah.
Tinder.
Yeah. I see 12 doors down. I don't know. It's something. Otherwise
ni mzuri.
iko poa.
Mambo vipi?
Mambo hapana, but it's called 3 Doors Down.
3 Doors Down. There
It's a rock
it is.
band, yeah.
So when you hear it, it all comes back to you. Comes back to me. All coming back to me now. Mambo.
Yes. Mambo yangu iko fiti. Hapana maneno mingi.
Fantastic.
Tuko salama kabisa. Yes. Tuko poa. Ulikuwa na siku njema?
Yeah.
Kabisa.
Si mbaya.
Very good.
No. I
didn't?
did no. In fact, I think I've dulled down the pain. My computer crashed jana. I was finishing a project. I lost everything. I think I'm numb from the pain.
Ouch. Okay, by crashed, what do you mean? What happened? What did you do?
It's you know how the screen goes. It was saying something, then the screen went black, and then you know how you get that, and then you get that message with that typewriter font, and it was just telling me some English. I don't know. Seek administrator something. I tried to press enter, and that bar is just clicking at me, and talked about some intervention. So now when I called the guy, he just
intervene us.
He said, When he said, I just knew I'm done for. So he said, bring it today. Let's have a look and see if we can
recover the data. It's probably going to be recoverable.
It's 3 months of work, bwana.
It's going to be recoverable. Sisi nasikia masaibu.
Imeenda?
Bwana.
Have no fear. Kuna kitu inaitwa cloud.
So I have a feeling.
You've been saving it there?
I have.
Okay.
But then I tried to check on my other device. Nasioni.
Do not worry.
Haoni nini? Device?
No, haoni article.
Because I had linked them.
It is okay. That thing is not lost.
I cried yesterday, as in tears, cried.
Tears are sometimes useful, but the thing is not lost.
So we'll hear.
Take it to people. Data recoverers.
We're taking it to people today.
No. Believe me, it is not lost. Once upon a time, it would be lost. But now upon a time?
No.
Sorry.
It's recoverable.
Everything is recoverable.
I hope so.
Yeah.
If Kenya can pay its debt, when you are...
Let's see.
Shida ndogo yako in comparison inaweza tatuliwa
one time
like that snap of a finger. City,
yes please.
Otherwise yako namna gani?
My dad, yes.
Wakire,
I suspect you're greeting me.
How do you answer Wakire? Ednah, you say what?
Wakire muno.
Muno.
Muna.
So everything has an A.
Yeah, Ednah told us you put air before, and in fact, if you say air something, you're speaking Kisi.
If there's a foreign word and you want to Kissinize it,
you put
an E. So E teams is Kisi.
Air teams.
You Kissinize it.
You Kissinized it.
Just put it E. Bas, uko sawa kabisa. Mambo hapana mbaya, tunasonga mbele vizuri sana. Let me tell you what we'll be discussing today. It's several things. It's Thursday, and therefore we have our Justice Thursday conversation today. Oh, CJ. Oh, President. Oh, Judicial Service Commission. Oh, corruption. Oh, this.
Law Society of Kenya.
Law Society of Kenya. Oh, Raila. Oh, Kalonzo. Oh, yesterday Raila said, Mama CJ.
Mama CJ. Oh, Lord.
And then he used words, I'm like, what exactly is Raila saying? He said, Awacha usharati. Awacha usharati.
What's usharati? I take it.
Usharati.
Fiddle-dee.
Huh?
Fiddle-dee.
Oh, just like stuff.
Yes, it's exactly stuff,
Okay.
but not stuff of Nini, of stuff of
invitation.
Anyway, we will be joined by the Vice Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission, Honorable Bashari Njero, who will be coming here at 7 a.m. to talk to us about safeguarding the independence of the judiciary. The JSC came out strongly through their chairperson, the Chief Justice, and said, no. We have got to understand the separation of powers. We are an independent entity. You cannot dictate to us that, we should be giving you court orders that are favorable to you because you promised people, because this and the other. Okay? So the JSC Vice Chairperson joins us at 7, and let's hear about him. And then at 8 o'clock, schools are open, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And last week, ahead of the opening of schools, the governor of Nairobi County said, you see that program that we started of school feeding? And we started a few schools as we were building more kitchens. Now we are adding more schools into the program. And so far, around 600,000 children are supposed to be getting a meal every day in various schools in Nairobi. Which schools are those?
How is it going to work, that one?
That's it.
Where are these children who are eating this food?
Which schools are those? Where children? Which sub-counties? Which schools? How do we account for that? How do we know that this is actually happening? Who's running it? Who's coordinating the logistics? Oh, there's a central kitchen, then the food gets to the children. And how do we... All those issues, even including hygiene and all, questions to be asked. We'll be joined by the minister in charge of this, the CECM for Health, Wellness and Nutrition in Nairobi City County. Her name is Susan Silantoi, and Wawera Njiro. Wawera is the CEO of Food for Education. Food for Education is a social enterprise that is running these kitchens in partnership with the county government of Nairobi, plus the Ministry of Education. These two ladies join us at 8 a.m. to respond to these questions on the Nairobi School Feeding Program. 9 o'clock, UDA's political agenda for 2024. The Secretary General of the party, Cleophas Malala, joins us. There are people, the governor of Nyeri County said, one of the big mistakes that we have made in this party is to make that man
Secretary General
of the party.
As if it was you who made him. But anyway.
So anyway, Arakuja, how wote, watatu. Sawa? Yes, it's a full day today at 19 minutes. Hey, it's already 19 minutes after 6. Tell us about the weather.
It's cloudy in Nairobi this morning. It's 16 degrees, highs of 23 and lows of 16. We're looking at partly cloudy conditions in Nakuru at 16 with highs of 23. 23 will be the high and mostly clear. Nyeri at 14. And at 14, Eldoret is cloudy, going to highs of 20 and lows of 13. Cloudy conditions at 25 in Mombasa, cloudy at 27 in Malindi. It's raining this morning in Kisumu at 19 with highs of 26. And Kakamega is also experiencing light rain this morning at 18, going to highs of 25 and lows of 17. Looking out into a cloudy Kampala, it's 20 degrees, highs of 28, while Dar es Salaam at 27 is mostly cloudy with highs of 30. Johannesburg this morning is cloudy at 12 with highs of 24 and lows of 10.
We're looking at sunny conditions through the morning. At 25 currently in Mogadishu, we'll see highs of 33. Addis Ababa at 11 is cloudy, highs of 24 and lows of 11. A hazy Lagos this morning at 25 with highs of 33. And at 23, it's mostly clear in Kinshasa with highs of 33. Thursday afternoon is sunny at 3 in Beijing with highs of 4 and lows of -6. And we're looking at a snowy morning at 0, heavy snow in Paris with highs of 4 and lows of -2. It's -2 and mostly cloudy in London, and we'll see highs of 4, while Wednesday night is -5 and clear in New York. Coming into Thursday, highs of -3 and lows of -6.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. Sabit Yusuf says a very good morning, CT, Ednah, Yego, Eric, and the ever-blazing Ndu. It was not me who said it. It is what they wrote there. Ever what? Say
ever-blazing girl.
Wishing everybody a great day ahead. Carol Nyambura says, Anna Tupenda Sana. Robert Nboko is tuned in from Mombasa, while Chris Adede says, good morning, Eric Ndu City. I'm locked in from Utawala. Pass my regards to the gorgeous Ednah.
Gorgeous.
Omo, stand up and receive your this thing.
Gorgeously.
Chris Adede says, good morning. There it is. She has stood up. She has received the greetings while standing. Chris. Evans Nyangano says, good morning, team, tuned in and ready for a great conversation. Patrick Waishigo says, good morning, tuned in from Washington. Zach says, Ednah Mbuyore. Do you know what that means? Mbuyore. Spice family, I'm going to bed on a very chilly night, tuned in from Minnesota. Rutherford Mganga Maganga says, good morning, gang. Weka taya gari ende. Tunaguruma. Great people. Kansas is locked, and we are warmer today at -5 degrees Celsius.
Wow. They're doing well.
Yes, I know. Good morning, tuned in from a wet San Francisco, says John K. Patrick says he's tuned in this morning. Davis Omari is also in the house. Says, good morning, people. Laban Cialo says, good morning, Winter Wonderland. Masai is freezing. -16 Celsius. Where in Masai land? Oh, this Masai is freezing. I get you. This particular Masai is freezing.
Wapi
in Winter Wonderland. Sasa, he has not told us the city, but it's somewhere.
Kimemramba.
Kabisa. Davis Omari is tuning from Minneapolis, and Abdi Kadir Hawadle says he's tuned in from Garissa. Every morning is a good morning when I get to be in love with Spice FM. May God bless our nation, Kenya. Indeed. Guten Morgen from Frankfurt, says Larry Mutwoli, and Mark Davis is tuned in, and he says, that band is called 3 Doors Down. Remember that? Camille says, only radio station which talks sense in our country. Good morning from Hanover. Robinson Kisero is tuned in from Hong Kong, and Stanley Jacob is ready for the day. Joe Muga is tuned in and says, from Bonny Lake, Jamboni. Patrick Mugo is also tuned in. Paul Momanyi says, good morning, and says, Titi, why did you skip Honorable Kalonzo's interview yesterday?
I apologize profusely. I had other matters to attend to.
Okay.
Yes.
Nisawa. Matthew Kyoko is tuned in and says, good morning. I need to buy one for CT and Eric. Buy what? Polycarp Makabe says, good morning. Patrick now has quoted UCT and says, tears are sometimes useful. They wash the eyes. Quote, CT
Muga. A wise man once said,
tears are good. They wash
a wise man of the Wahenga Club.
Our fact said Makori is tuned in. Anne Gore, beautiful lady, good morning to you. Octavius Cargo says good morning. Creative Master says good morning as well. And temperature 2 degrees minus everywhere. Jimmy Weke says tuned in. Peter is also here. A guy has called himself Bald Head and says good morning. David Abwara says good morning. Many words in Kiswahili. And of course, Don Sabo is here this morning and says hello to everybody. Karibuni sana. Welcome to
What is the word today?
I don't know.
He hasn't put in. The word for Kiswahili today.
Chigamulo. Decision. Chigamulo.
Chigamulo. You know, the friend, the watermelon farmer, my friend Tito.
Yes.
He lives in Finland.
He said, you know what? You and your watermelons can stay the whole country.
That's what you call creating distance. Finland is far.
Finland. The temperatures in the city that he lives in called Tampere
is minus who?
Minus 22 on a warm day.
On a warm day.
That's where he went. No, I think he was genuinely pissed off.
This watermelon story really got his goat and said, you know what? I'm going totally different.
This brother is a definition of pissed off. Finland.
Kwendeni. As far away from Gilgil
as possible. Sheesh.
Oh, yes, it is. Today's Nigerian proverb.
Today's Nigerian proverb. Yeah, this one is actually interesting. One day, breeze go blow and foul Yanish go open.
Guess what they're saying? Is that a proverb, really?
Yes, it's a proverb.
Are you sure?
Please, for my pleasure alone.
Say it again.
Say it again.
One day, breeze go blow and foul Yanish go open.
Yeah, say it.
One day, breeze go blow and foul Nyash go open.
Yeah, Yanish.
One day, so in English?
One day, breeze go blow and foul Nyash go open. You never hear we talk, say, foul Nyash go open. Breeze go blow.
Yes.
Foul Nyash go open.
Yes.
One day.
Yes, Yanish.
So, in English?
Let me help you.
Thank you.
Nothing can remain hidden forever.
No. Say it. What are they saying?
So you ask for meaning.
That is the interpretation.
Okay.
What is the translation?
If it was, I've done 50% of the work. Over to you, sister.
One day when the breeze blows, a chicken's bum will be made bare.
Will be revealed.
Will be revealed. Yeah, she's bum.
Yanish.
No.
Right.
Headlines for the Ali.
Killers chilling SMS demands revealed. So, it continues and it's unfortunate. The family of slain varsity student Rita Waeni tells of their horror when, following her disappearance, received messages from her phone asking for 500,000 shillings ransom, only later to discover her dismembered body at a morgue. So we'll look at the details of that and others who fall in the same fate as Rita. Another one that bothers me. Bright KCPE stars who may miss Form 1 over fees. Tata factory shut in tussle with county. Museveni's battle for the youth. Museveni has decided, this president, I will get it again. Now, me, as an octogenarian, I still want to be president and I'm fighting for the youth vote. Easily 70 years between yourself and these fellas that you want to vote for you, but okay. Inside the state plan to nail Mackenzie, apparently there's a plan. The state table, so remember the story that we read yesterday?
Yes.
The magistrate had said, bring charges or give this man bail. Don't waste our time anymore. The state has tabled charge sheet with 191 counts of murder against Paul Nthenge Mackenzie and associates over the Shakahola massacre. So you remember you were asking, so what are they going to do? Will there be a count for each of these individuals against the 429? 191 counts is what we're looking at right now. All right. TSC moves head teachers in new changes. This is going to ruffle some feathers. This one, go open yash for real.
Because TSC has said, head teachers, let's just shuffle you around just a little bit. On the front page of The Nation, cabinet jitters as Ruto calls retreat. Do we have money to go for retreat? That's not the kind of retreat we're talking about. Anxiety has gripped cabinet and principal secretaries after President William Ruto convened a retreat early next month to review their performance. Okay, so maybe they're actually going for retreat. And while he has yet to drop any of his senior officials, the head of state has accused some of them of being clueless about their roles. But the planned meeting has triggered a flurry of activity. Again, there's the beautiful face of this young girl, Rita Waeni, the university student who was killed in a city short rental house last weekend. She had on several occasions declined the man's request for a meetup until on the fateful day. Now there are fresh details that have arisen. Same story, where the family had been requested in a not so nice manner to pay money. Mashogo rules out school fees increase, says forget about it. You want to increase school fees? Not on my watch. And he told the officials, stick to rates. Well, good luck, because schools have already raised fees. We'll look at that. Direct Dubai Mombasa flights to boost tourism. Fly Dubai's inaugural flight touches down at the coast. 3,500 households face eviction from city estate. Ouch. State House and new KCC have the most mystery staff. State House has mystery staff.
Imagine.
According to a new audit. So let's see. This AFCON is really doing people in. Ghana is crying. And guess what? Ex-champs Tunisia crying as well.
Wali
Chapwa, my friend.
Chapo.
Kabisa.
Oh, yeah. In the Business Daily, there's an Israeli road construction company called SBI International Holdings Kenya Limited. You've heard about it? Now, that company was paid 6.19 billion shillings for breaches involving 9 contracts awarded under the previous administration of Uhuru Kenyatta, according to budget disclosures by the Roads and Transport Ministry.
They were awarded?
Yes.
Were they paid?
Not yet paid. The payments follow orders issued by the High Court in Nairobi and international arbitrators in 2021 against Kenha, largely for contravening the terms of road construction contracts with the firm. For example, SBI was awarded 6.96 billion shillings after Kenha terminated road deals it had awarded the firm for works on the Kisumu and Kericho, some of which were due to what they called delays in releasing project funds. So Kenha is like, we contracted you to do this job. There have been delays in releasing the money, so we are cancelling the contract. SBI went to the Dispute Adjudication Board in the UK and said, Apana, the Highway Authority paid SBI 400 million shillings, or about 5.74% of the total amount awarded during Uhuru's last financial year in office. Roads and Transport Ministry report shows 6.19 billion was paid during the last financial year, ended June last year. The last payment leaves a balance of 371 million, which is yet to be paid. Some of these cancelled contracts. Kisumu Boys Mamboleo Road award 2.18 billion shillings. They were paid 1.8 billion. Ahero Interchange 0.52 billion shillings. They were paid. Kericho Interchange 0.27 billion shillings. Payment 0.27 billion. So this is the engineering firm was awarded 6 billion and 6.56 and 6.19 has been paid. Imagine. This is awards due to breach of contract, not 6 billion shillings
for
paid for. Yes.
Remember, we're looking at some figures a while back.
6B.
Yep. And we're looking at how the state has lost money. And this breaches of contracts and the payments accruing therefrom is just one of them.
Crazy. Other headlines, small headlines. Kenyan elite investors to buy Nova Schools buildings. A group of Kenyan investors is set to buy the buildings and the physical infrastructure that's hosting Nova Schools in Tatu City from the holding company that leases the premises to the educational institution. The Competition Authority has approved that deal, said it's above board. So these guys are now going to buy the building and then I'll probably lease it also to Nova. State House and new KCC top entities with mystery staff. What does that mean?
The people who work here who know, they're like Casper.
Nas.
City. Their spirits are in the hallways.
You tell us what's in the Star. We'll look at that story.
Top right-hand corner in Till Green. Late review. Suppliers agony as Okoh-led pending bills team misses deadline. This is Siaya County. Okoh here, led with the Okoh, former Auditor General of the Republic of Kenya. Then there's a story, HIV in the streets, medic warn of crisis in Eldoret. Yes.
Wow.
Young people have some of the highest new HIV infection rates, but the situation is worse if they live on the streets. Researchers say girls living on the streets of Eldoret could be dying in high numbers. HIV didn't go away. No, still there. How 2 Nigerians were deported to US for fraud trial. 2 Nigerians wanted in the United States for wire and computer fraud offenses, but fled to hide in Kenya were not lucky after a court ordered their extradition to face trial. And bang in the middle of the paper, murder. Family tells of ambitious Rita Waeni. 4th year JKU art student met unknown man on social media. They say it was Instagram, not Instagram. Okay, days before her death. Okay, there's a picture of the young lady. You know, anyway. Right. And the picture of a supposed suspect, whom when you read the paper, you find this gentleman was traveling to Mozambique. He was let go when they figured he wasn't quite the guy they were looking for. Bitter rivalry as Omolo Wallo seek to turn Raila tide. Omolo here is the Interior CS and
PS.
Yes.
PS. Yes.
And
ICT CS is Eliud Wallo.
Okay.
There's a picture of Raila Odinga welcoming someone called Fred Wetangula, who ditched UDA and joined the ODM in Bungoma yesterday.
Okay.
I think ODM is carrying on with their so-called membership drive. Right. That's just about it in the headlines.
Okay. Tell us about traffic, Tafadhali.
Chop.
Yeah.
This is the Situation Room.
Starting to build on Jogo Road, and we're seeing that right around the train station. But more significantly now, on the Thika Superhighway, early traffic is already a bumper-to-bumper state, so we're looking at a standstill between Survey and then going out towards Moranga Road all the way, snaking along very slowly into the CBD, likely to back up some more as we get closer to traffic hour. If you're coming out of Westlands, Waiyaki Way, up ahead, coming in from Kangemi, out past Mountain View, through towards the CBD, you're fine. Getting out there in 5 minutes, if not less, before the traffic starts to build. And you're coming off of the northern bypass, as well as then coming in through to Limuru Road, up there, Kitisuru, Roslyn, out towards the village market. No traffic, you're fine. It will build up from what we're seeing because everybody's trying to get out real quick. But as it slows down some, we're getting into traffic hour in about an hour or so. All right, we're going to keep an eye on things this Thursday. We want to keep things moving. Just in case you do bump into something, talk to us. SpiceFM, KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, so we'll look at this story of how a family reveals that 500,000 shillings is the ransom demand before Rita Waeni was murdered in the brutal way in which she was. Her family said that 36 hours of agony that marked her last moments before they saw her badly dismembered body discovered. Her killers, in a string of short text messages through her phone, demanded 500,000 for her freedom before going silent. And even after her killing, they made additional extortion demands whose details the family did not reveal. The shocking details emerged in a statement by family spokesman Lillian Mutea, who said her family was broken by the loss of 20-year-old Waeni, and especially by how she was killed. It came a day after female lawyers through FIDA Kenya joined leaders in condemning what they termed a rising trend, where young women were losing their lives through intimate partner violence, and called on the government to enhance their protection. So they cite the recent gruesome murder of another young woman, Starlet Wahu,
Frida Kenya Vice Chair Christine Kungu said her death was a result of violence against women. Barely a week later, Frida Kenya has learned that with shock the murder of a woman whose body was found in an apartment located in Roysambu under circumstances suspected to have been intimate partner violence. So they're saying that these numbers that we're seeing are really too much. Look at the numbers on the front page, rather the pictures. Phyllis Jepleting, age 20, a student at the Karatina University. Her lifeless body was found in her boyfriend's house in January last year. Ada Nyambura, aged 20, her body was found in a bush on the 30th of April last year. Police said the Masai Mara University student was raped and killed. Scarlett Wahoo was a socialite who was killed in an apartment in South B on the 6th of January. And June Jerop, 36, a Kenyatta University's master's student whose body was dumped at Jamhuri Estate in April last year. And then Rita Waeni, this, troubling case that we see now, with the details of her death just really being quite concerning. So, the family mourns and starts burial preparations. The police have intensified the search for a man said to have been the last person seen with her. The DCI has formed a mega investigation team to unravel the murder. Different teams of investigators, including DCI Homicide, Kasarani DCI, Crime Search and Intelligence Bureau, and Operation Support Unit have been deployed on the matter to find Waeni's missing head and apprehend the killers.
That thing is quite I don't even know.
It's disturbing on all levels.
I've ended it there. I've ended it at the quite. Meanwhile, as this is happening, the owner of the short stay rental apartment along TRM Drive where she was killed will remain in custody for an extra 10 days. Priscilla Maina will be held at the Kasarani police station together with 3 men arrested at the Greenhouse Apartments. Maina is in custody for failing to register her tenant's identification details as required by the law, which would have helped the DCI to officers to trace the murderer. Maina was held together with Kelvin Mutiso, Eugene Omondi and Brian Kenoti, who were arrested near the house. Their lawyer, Eunice Katila, had opposed the application to detain Maina, stating that it was her client who reported the incident to the police, which shows she had nothing to hide, and her only mistake was failure to register personal details of the client who booked the house.
Is that sorry, I have a question. Did this requirements, I'm not versed with it, but did the requirement for registration with IDs come before or after we've seen the rise of these incidents?
It's been there even before. Okay. Remember, even when we had the data commissioner here, she said that those who are mandatorily required to capture data, and these include accommodation and hospitality facilities.
Right, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So it comes now with it that you're required to do it. We know that not many people don't. And now can you imagine just how she was called and told, Nyumbayako, something has happened. She called the police. She's in for an extra 10 days.
Yeah, in case she had anything.
But I don't understand why they're holding her for. Why does she need to be in the police cell?
Because she failed to demand for people to.
So is she being punished now? Is she being judged? Why is she? What are they investigating? They're investigating why she didn't take the ID. I'm seriously opposed to this issue of police just saying we arrest you and we lock you and then we move around as we look for something else. We kwanza kaa ndani. And see, it's because of such things. It'll come to anybody, and the police, the first thing that they'll do is
anything that's in the vicinity,
they go to court and say, can we hold this person for 20 days? Why?
Don't know, but okay, hold. We've seen it over and over again. From missing babies, kidnapped babies, to this. Anybody who's in the vicinity that looks like
to the guys who are arrested around there.
You know what it means is if someone doesn't like you, and they say, they can actually just lock you up.
Set you up nicely. Yeah.
No, by the way, they can just lock you up. It's not complicated.
And then they apply for,
later
to hold you for
And then if they get something that sticks, however.
No, they can find.
They'll find.
Just the thing is, they can find.
But I don't know. What is the risk here? Is she a flight risk? Is she... What is
suggestion
Is she going to interfere with witnesses?
Or the suggestion is that because she didn't demand for IDs to be left, that she would have colluded with somebody who may have come
So
in.
let's even say that she may have been colluding with this person. So why hold her? So
why hold her?
When she's in cell, what is happening?
How is she helping?
How is she helping?
If indeed she's guilty, I thought you take such people to court.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You charge them. And because now they're just holding as we conduct investigations. So let's even say that you're suspecting that this person may have been aided and abetted the killer. Okay, let's just say you're suspecting that.
Right.
Okay. So reason for you to hold them, is it because they are flight risk? Is it because they're likely to interfere with witnesses? Is it because they're likely to tamper with a crime scene? The crime scene is secured by the police. What is it? What is it?
It doesn't make sense.
This is a woman who has children at home, presumably.
Yeah.
What have you done?
Okay.
Go and charge her later for not following the law. Fine.
You know the thing that I find disturbing in such cases, it's exemplified best by the number of people who are in remand who seem to be forgotten.
Yes.
You're arrested for something or the other, and you're put in remand. Haki, you're forgotten.
Really something or the other.
Oh, yeah.
It really is something or the other.
Yes. You're forgotten. People say, oh, you mean they're here? Oh, okay. Hey, what was it again? I mean, so
that's true.
How do you remain? It's supposed to be a holding place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can remain there for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think that although we are seeing it in small measure, I think that magistrates and judicial officers are actually pushing for this thing that you're saying. Look, my friends, charge them and let them go out on a bailable offense, but do not keep them there while you try to find something that will stick.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because that's why we see so many of the issues that we are seeing. We are seeing clogging up of the courts. We are seeing clogging up of holding cells. We are seeing all of these things. Why? Charge them. If you don't have anything to charge them with, let them go. Let them go.
You know
and this holding people for 10 days, guess what? It doesn't add to the investigation. And then after 10 days, you let them go, but you've already besmirched their name.
Yeah. Yep. Lubale is saying, you can't detain someone for more than 24 hours without evidence. Yes, that's true. And that's why the police will, within those 24 hours, take you to court and then ask for court's permission
later
to continue detaining you. So that's what they've done with these particular people. They've said, all right, so we are detaining them. We'd like to hold them for another 10 days. And the magistrate just says, okay. Why? I mean, the magistrate should ask, why?
Why?
Why do you need to detain them? Okay, why? Hi. Let me give you another story here. Over 10,000 residents of Obama Estate, Nairobi, are living in fear of eviction after the original owner of the land served them notices yesterday morning to vacate. This is after a court ruled that the 18.6 acres of land, currently valued at over 3 billion shillings, housing over 3,500 households, was sold to the current occupants illegally and without the knowledge of the landowners. The owners of the hundreds of rental apartments, schools, churches and private homes have a maximum of 2 weeks to either reach an agreement with the Broadwell Limited, the rightful landowner, to pay for the land, or to vacate. The deadline for these two options is the end of this month, failure to which Broadwell will evict the settlers. Hey, documents seen by The Nation show that despite numerous attempts by Broadwell to stop the invasion of the land, nothing came of it. We have tried several times to stop the invasion, but we have always been threatened with violence, and that is why we have gone to court. Even the Obama police station is on our land. But we have no problem with the security apparatus because they are providing security. This company acquired the land in 1992 from the then Nairobi City Council, and it was granted a 99-year lease from April 1st, 1992. Over the years, the people who invaded the property registered the self-help group to manage the land. The group subdivided the land and eventually began selling plots to unsuspecting buyers. By 2012, a new crop of owners began building their homes. In 2021, the courts ruled against Daylight Self-Help Group, restraining it from trespassing on Broadwell's property and adding that it should be evicted. See? So over time, these guys came, they subdivided the land amongst themselves, and then they sold it out to third owners. Those ones came, they started building apartments. They are proper apartments, houses. It's in Kayole. There are schools. So there's a police station. There's an...
Let's flip this discussion a little bit, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. What are we looking at here? Because this story is simply queuing up behind many such stories that we've read.
Yep.
And it is in Nairobi now. What about the other cities?
Yep.
What about the other major towns in the country? Okay? How is it possible that authorities who are supposed to oversight such things did not know? How do you put up a building without the knowledge of either the city council or the county government? How do you? At the flats, schools, how? You can't. So you're telling me that these people went about this business and the authority who was supposed to oversee this thing simply gave them the nod and said it is okay.
Just go ahead.
Yes. So
even the Interior Ministry set up a police station.
Yes.
On this land.
Now, you could argue that gave the people confidence.
Yeah.
The government is here too.
Yes.
You know?
Okay. You see, what really are we seeing here? Okay. There are people who desperately want to own property. There are people who want to develop. Now, does it make them an easy prey? Now, who is supposed to protect people from such
Who
things?
should protect?
Because those who seek to take advantage of people are not in short supply.
Now, these 10,000 families, these 10,000 people who are moving, who have to move, been evicted.
They either pay...
At some point, they paid...
They have paid
for this place they were living.
Yes.
Whether or not they paid to the authentic owner, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But they paid, they parted with money.
They parted with money.
And then you see all these other establishments coming up, school, police station. So who's to say that you did the wrong thing?
Yep.
And then now the law will say, my friend, you have to go.
Some guys who registered, they call themselves Daylight Self-Help Group, Okoh in Kayole. And you'll find there was some politicians involved in this whole scheme. Okay? They start selling in 2012. New people come in and they've bought from the old ones. They start building.
Then word of mouth goes around. And people, let me tell you, we need to probably ask our listeners, how many people have bought land in this country which later turned out to be not just fishy, but completely fictitious, and they have lost money as a result of this, if not property?
Oh my God, many. Huh? Many.
These numbers are big.
Yeah.
10,000.
No, that's this group.
That's just this group, yeah.
This is just one group. In Voi, more than 100 residents are facing eviction by the National Transport and Safety Authority after the agency erected beacons on the land where they are living. The residents, who have built houses, shops and churches on the land, say they have been living on the 6-acre piece of land since the 1960s, and they're accusing the authority of grabbing it. One of the residents is a 75-year-old person called Ernestina Gadi, and she told the Nation that she has lived there since 1966 when she got married.
Hey.
She's wondering, Sasa, what do you mean now you've come and erected beacons and said this is your land? I've been here since 1966.
1966.
66. How old were you, City? 8?
Yes, I was 8.
Can you imagine?
I was 8 years old, yes.
Since then, think of your siblings. Look at that sibling who basically all their life
have lived. They know no other place.
Yes.
Then someone is coming to tell you that land actually
it belongs to NTSA. Who is NTSA? NTSA was established the other day. So who was it before then? Why?
But this is a matter that those who understand the law better than all of us combined, but they need you to speak on this matter, in all honesty, because it's prevalent.
It is, and that means that you've parted with money. You have a document which you think is authentic, but it actually is not. So that means anybody can rock up tomorrow, knock the thing down, tell you to get out because your thing is not authentic. Move, and it comes to, and then the law is on their side and says. So somebody's even asking here, Afro-Jamaican. So if I have a document, you are trying to say that it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I have property. You
know, in many of these cases, you'll actually find that people don't even have a title deed, right? So they have an allotment letter. Like now, this self-help group, when they were subdividing, they were giving them allotment letter. Then you're selling that allotment to somebody else. Just selling that right. So you've not received a title deed.
An allotment means nothing.
Yes.
It means nothing.
They have made it mean nothing. It was supposed to mean something. It's actually, an allotment letter is a legal...
It's a journey to... It should be a journey towards
a title.
Your first slip.
It is actually...
It's your first slip.
Yes. Yeah. It is a legal document.
Yeah.
Yes. So now, they have made that sound like a terrible thing. Haven't they just?
No, they have one.
It's crazy. Tell us a story, City. One.
Today,
top of the hour.
HIV in streets. Medics warn of crisis in Eldoret. Okay? Young people have some of the highest new HIV infection rates in Kenya, but the situation is worse if they live on the streets. Researchers from the Moi University and its partners say girls living on the streets of Eldoret could be dying from HIV in high numbers without having been diagnosed. One former street-connected young woman said the girls are many, but most of them have died due to HIV. Many of the girls I started with on the streets are dead. The young women describe their inability to negotiate condom use with young men under the influence of alcohol and other substances. They also explained how substance use leaves them vulnerable to sexual and gender-based violence. The small girls sniff glue and it becomes too much for them. Then the boys come to them and force themselves on them. The girls and the young men were interviewed to identify the barriers they face in accessing HIV prevention and care. The researchers said street-connected youth face heightened vulnerability to HIV due to circumstances such as living in unsafe housing, substance use, and gender violence. Even if I seduce those girls, I don't have money or a house. I sleep outside, so I'll just buy her cheap alcohol and then take her to Mangula Barak location because there I don't have to pay for anything, one young man in Eldoret said. Then when the other street boys, see I've taken her to the forest, they will follow me and around 30 to 40 will have sex with her. So if she's sick, we will all be infected.
Wait. Just repeat that last bit. Let me understand. Before you said the 30 to 40, what did you say before that?
I said, if I seduce a girl, I don't have a house. I will just buy cheap alcohol and then take her to Mangula. This is outside the barracks location because there I won't have to pay, said one young man in Eldoret. Then when the other street boys see I've taken her to the forest, they will follow me and around 30 to 40 will have sex with her. So if she's sick, we will all be infected.
Father Lord.
Wow. As in vulnerable, exposed, and just it continues.
It continues. The vicious cycle is not just continuing, it's growing.
It's just growing.
You have a children's department. These are children.
Yep. You have a state department for social protection.
These are children. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
And many of them will grow up.
Yeah. First of all, how do they end up in the streets?
Yeah.
Because these are teenagers and young men and women who are out in the streets. Like they're saying, they don't have a house. They have nowhere to sleep. They sleep.
And you're being told.
Under bridges, under what?
By the time a young man is talking about 30 or 40 of his friends, how many are they? And someone just watching and there's a department, someone is earning a salary, someone is supposed... man. Something's absolutely wrong here.
Very, very wrong.
Where do all these street families come from?
Where do they come from?
What is the story for each of the person that you see out there on the street? Because nobody wants to be out there. It's raining and you're just there.
Let me go and be outside in the streets.
Outside in the street, don't have a change of clothes, you're out there. What is it?
There's a circumstance that has created that. Something has happened for people to be on the street like this. And then what are we seeing? That they're contributing majorly now to the HIV burden because of this kind of position.
And does the state have a responsibility?
The state has to have a responsibility.
Yes,
these are citizens of this country. Of course they have who else has a responsibility?
Yeah.
And the county government has a responsibility.
Well, it's a sad story. Let's just go to the top of the hour. Let's go to the news. We'll have our Justice Thursday conversation coming up shortly. The Vice Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission will be joining us. We'll talk about corruption in the judiciary and attacks from the executive and parliament. It's 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. President William Ruto has criticized those opposing his planned meeting with Chief Justice Martha Koome. Ruto, who appeared to be referring to ODM leader Raila Odinga, said it was ironical that he accepted his offer for bipartisan talks, yet he did not want him to speak to the Chief Justice.
Na mimi kwa sababu mimi nataka tusuluhishe haya mambo, mimi nimekubali kwa heshima, nitaketi chini na viongozi wa mahakama, nitaketi chini na viongozi wa bunge, tutatue hii matatizo, ndio maendeleo ya Kenya iende mbele. Sasa tena mimi nasikia mtu akitendawili amesema ati tusiongee. Sasa mimi nashangaa hii dunia. Si mimi niliongea na yeye juzi wakati alikuwa analalamika ati mambo ya sijui nini. Si niliongea na yeye. Mbona hataki mimi niongee na wengine? Kwani Kenya ni yake peke yake? Waache hiyo mchezo.
He further said that those opposing the talks are sabotaging the country's development.
So these people, those who are opposed to any conversation amongst Kenyan institutions so that we can sort out the challenges that face development in our country, are the ones that have been recruited by the cartels, by the crooks, by the saboteurs, so that they can continue to benefit to the disadvantage of the people of Kenya. And we want to tell them, shame on them. Wewe ni kiongozi wa aina gani unaenda kuungana na wakora na wezi ati kusabotage maendeleo ya Kenya? Wewe hata hufai kuongoza hata zizi la ng'ombe. Bure kabisa.
This is Azimio boss Raila Odinga continued to criticize Koome for agreeing to hold talks with the executive regarding allegations of corruption in the judiciary.
Ati wewe nasema njoo sisi tuongee. Sasa nasema mimi nakubali sasa. Tuende kwa pamoja, tukae pamoja. Bwana, hiyo hatutaki. Hiyo hatutaki bwana.
5 families in Eldoret are tussling over ownership of a 20-acre piece of land that has been in contention for the last 1 year. This comes after Kapseret legislator Oscar Sudi led a group of youth in demolishing structures sitting on the contentious piece.
Kuna ukweli ukora kwa mahakama. Na ni watu kutoka tribe moja ukifuatilia vizuri. Hii makesi yote Eldoret, we must do something. Hatuwezi kubali kuendelea hivyo. If there is anybody ako na question mark ama ako na tu sababu ama ako na nini, awaachane na kila mtu anistake mimi.
The incident comes just 2 days after a woman laying claim on part of the land allegedly sought President William Ruto's help in occupying the property.
Tuliongea na rais, yani tulikuwa classmate na yeye. Sasa rais akakuja kutusalamia. Nikashika yeye, alafu nikaongea nikawaeleza hii maneno. Niko nje, shamba yangu imeng'anyang'wa na nini na wakora. Sasa president akasema na nani najua hiyo maneno. Nikaambia Suti anajua. Sasa akaita yeye Suti ndio akakimbia akakuja tuongee.
Another victim who is in possession of court documents granting him ownership of the land condemned the demolition. He says plunges the country into the dark days of disregarding not only court orders but also basic human rights.
Tumepeana title yetu, hata ile receipt tumepeana iko kotini, hawachaleta yao. Mheshimiwa na wao na watu wengi wakaja wamepomoa nyumba, wamechukua manyumba zenye zilikuwa kule, wamechukua vitu mpaka hata na saisi hatujui ng'ombe zilikuwa kule, kuku. We had projects nyingi. I don't know where mheshimiwa alipata wapi nguvu hiyo, ingawaje hatutaki kusema ati vile alisema yeye mwenyewe ati ametumwa sijui na nani. We don't want to say yeye mwenyewe ndiye alikuja.
The public hearings of the Affordable Housing Bill 2023 commenced in Narok and Embu counties despite a court order stopping the exercise from being conducted until the matter is heard and determined. The 2 events, which ran concurrently through a town hall setup, saw individuals and interest groups give their submissions to a joint parliamentary committee dominated by Kenya Kwanza members of parliament presiding over the matter. In Narok, the session, which was hosted at the Narok Town Hall Social Hall, was presided over by members of the National Assembly's Finance and National Planning Committee. In Embu, the exercise was conducted at the Talent Academy by the National Assembly's Departmental Committee on Housing and Urban Planning and Public Works, dominated by the Kenya Kwanza MPs.
There was a concern that the price of these houses need to be affordable, need to be more affordable. So the sample of the houses in the market, there was a fear that we need to have houses that are slightly cheaper than that.
Kuna sheria iwezi pitishwa na sisi bila kuuliza nyinyi pia msome hiyo sheria kabla hatujapitisha, msome vizuri, mtuambie nyinyi mnaonaje, mngetaka tubadilishe nini.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
Okay, so getting into things this morning. Let's see what traffic is doing on the roads. Okay, a little bit of traffic coming off of Jogoo Road. It's going to hold you up right around the Makadara train station, but then out towards Landis and then on towards Haile Selassie. For the first time in many days, traffic is moving and flowing really freely. Let's see what happens as we get into traffic hour proper. Coming off of the Thika Superhighway, a little bit of that well in from Tusker Village, coming in from Garden City, there is starting to build up, and we're at a standstill between Survey and the fork in the road that goes towards Wangari Maathai, or that goes towards Murang'a Road. Also, it's starting to build coming off of Kiambu Road as well as Limuru Road, and then going towards Westlands. So we're getting into traffic hour in a short while, but it looks like we can manage it. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on X.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation
How
Room.
are you doing? Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. If you're just joining us, we are on SpiceFM, on KTN Home, on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're following this conversation from. Asante sana. Thank you for tuning in. Maramoja Taxi is reminding you, if you use the code SPICE30 for your next ride on Maramoja Taxi, you get 30% discount. 30% discount. And CT, if you load any amount on your Maramoja wallet, what do you get?
50% of what you've loaded.
Aye.
So if you do your maths, doesn't matter, you don't have to be good at maths. You just need to add 50 and 30 and you come up with 80.
Imagine.
So you're doing very well here.
Very, very well. Very, very well.
You have more money. You're paying less. I mean, can things get any better?
Can't. There's absolutely no way. And Maramoja Taxi is available in very many major cities. Nairobi, major city. Mombasa, major city. Nakuru, major city. Kisumu, major city. Eldoret, new major city. Naivasha should be major city, resort city.
I mean,
have you said Nakuru?
Yes.
Okay.
Major city.
Yes.
Can you imagine? It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So download Maramoja Taxi today on whatever app store you have. Play Store, App Store, Hot Store, Store for the apps. Go there. Download it. What do you look for? Maramoja Transport.
Yes, Maramoja Transport Company, and then there will be these apps. Look for the blue one. Very, very interesting graphics. Blue.
Very good.
Application is simple. Name, phone number, email address.
Yes.
Finished.
Yes.
Then they tell you to proceed.
Plus.
Then you proceed.
And that's it. It's Thursday, the 18th day of January 2024. On everybody's lips in this country right now, the judiciary, the judiciary, the judiciary. Our Justice Thursday conversation is going to be with the Vice Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission, the Honorable Macharia Njeru. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Sir.
Welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I'm so pleased to be here. I listen to SpiceFM a lot, and I congratulate you as a team because you've done a very good job in terms of keeping the public appraised and engaged in all matters that relate to our political discourse. And you've become a very respected station. In fact, I dare say that right now, due to your consistency, I would consider you to be the number one station in the country today. So,
the judiciary has spoken.
Yes.
My personal view. That's my personal view.
It's over. It's done.
No, that's it. We're done.
But I have a fairly good mind, so I believe I've done a good job in making the right assessment.
Asante sana Macharia. Hey, that shot. Eh? I am not who didn't get the memo one. Look at Ndu. Look at now our guest. Kawaida City.
Yeah. Great minds, you know.
It's great minds. Okay. Right. I know what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Now, City always goes around Africa. Scouts for proverbs from one African country. And throughout the week, he gives us one proverb per day. This week, he's in the country of Nigeria. And he's going to give us proverbs. You've been to Nigeria, I'm sure, Mashari?
I've not been, but I follow a lot.
You know a lot about Nigeria.
Yeah. In fact, one of the discussions I've had recently about independence of the judiciary is with the former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, a very respected guy called Akpata. And so you can see the interest is always to compare what's happening in our country with other jurisdictions, particularly within our continent.
Yes. So this week, the proverbs are from Nigeria, City.
Yes.
You'll give us a proverb in your pidgin English.
Yes.
And then the Nigerian Kenyan will give us a proverb in proper pidgin. And then it'll be your job, Masharia, to translate it from pidgin to English and then give us your interpretation of it. Okay? So let's start. City, go. Start. You have the baton. On your marks.
I have to apologize before saying this because I am certain I may not pidgin this thing adequately. But nonetheless, as they say, here goes. Okay? One day, breeze go blow and foul Yanish go open.
One day. This one is one day,
breeze go blow.
Breeze go blow.
And after breeze go blow, foul. Yanish.
Which foul? F-O-U-L?
F-O-W-L.
You know, in Nigeria, any fowl is fowl. Turkey, chicken, duck. So long as fowl, we fit chop am na fowl.
Perfectly
fowl.
Understandable.
Okay, a bird.
Yes.
No, the one for eating, not pigeon.
Not pigeon. All right.
Go open.
Go open. Now.
Do.
One day breeze go blow, na fowl nyash go open.
Yanish becomes nyash. One day breeze go blow.
One day breeze go blow.
Na fowl nyash go open. Masharia, are you anywhere close to understanding what has been said?
You know, for me, if it was something to do with chicken or our animals that you are used to, I would have done a better job in, interpreting. But now, that I leave to
remove fowl and say chicken.
Remove fowl and say bird.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Let's stay with the judiciary.
Okay. Okay, so foul bird,
translate
and
it.
then Nyash is behind. So one day the breeze will blow, and a bird behind will be exposed.
You see, I would look at it this way, that even as we continue attacking our institutions, thinking that we are okay because we are in power, we are protected, we'll damage these institutions, then a time will come because the shoe will be on the other foot. And the institution that you destroyed will no longer be there to protect you. So we got to have an eye for the future, even as we are dealing with the present.
Titi, what do you say?
Oh, yes. It's a multiple yes.
It's many yeses.
Yes, it is. Because there's something about the truth. It doesn't matter what you do. They say it loud. You can twist and turn and hide it and pontificate. You can do whatever it is you wish to do. But at the end of the day, and usually at the most inconvenient of times, it will be there staring at you and telling you, here I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, Vice Chairperson, the Judicial Service Commission has come out to respond to what's been in the public domain. And this started with the president and then followed by other members of the executive and some members of parliament and some advocates and some litigants saying there is corruption in the judiciary, and not just, few cases of corruption, but there is rampant corruption in the judiciary. That now the judiciary has gotten to a point where the judiciary is being used for political expediency. The judiciary is not serving the people. It's not delivering justice. You came out to respond. Those that didn't hear, what's this response?
My brother Eric, there's no institution in this country that can say it doesn't have challenges. I mean, we would be burying our heads in the sand if we say that there are no challenges. But it is an exaggeration to say that there's rampant corruption in the judiciary. That is simply not true. Now, the timing of the discussions at this point in time, whether from the executive and say from the political leadership, is deliberate to achieve certain ulterior objectives. That is the simple truth, because there is litigation in court, if you look at the timing. And of course, the litigation is high octane, that we can't, again, lie to ourselves. And it can't be that all these allegations that are being, brought forth with a lot of, energy, when the cases are pending in court, it can only be that the executive or the politicians, so to speak, would want certain decisions made in their favor. So how do you do it? You, as much as possible, make pronouncements so that you can intimidate the judges and they rule in your favor. Because if you are saying, and this is now to the politicians, because many of these politicians are elected, and in fact, when they are campaigning, they are very emphatic about the rule of law. That when I take over power, I'll be ensuring that this country is governed by rule of law. Now, and we know about this country that the moment they came into power, there were also petitions. In fact, among all the politicians, there were many petitions, whether it's the presidency, whether it's parliament, whether it's, county governments. And these petitions were determined by the same judges. None of them, the ones none of them said that judiciary was corrupt as they were making those decisions. So if you now turn around and say that the judiciary cannot be trusted and is corrupt, then in effect what you are saying is that, you are able to achieve your decisions in your favor through corruption, because basically that's what you are saying, which is not true, because, the judiciary was praised for making decisions expeditiously and following the facts, law, and evidence. So you can't speak from both sides of the mouth that judiciary is corrupt when decisions don't go your way, and judiciary is very good, independent, and respectable when decisions are made in your favor. So we accept as JSC that whenever there are challenges that relate to judges and judicial officers, we are there under the Constitution to process those complaints, to process those petitions. And we do that all the time. And it's in public domain that action has been taken against judges, action has been taken against magistrates, action has been taken even against our judicial staff. In fact, 2023 alone, 3 judges were removed. 2023 alone, 2 magistrates were removed. In the last 2 years, we've removed 71 staff, judicial staff. And, those are very many people being removed. There are many other petitions that are being processed. But see, at the end of the day, whatever issues we have against an institution that is as important as the judiciary, it is how we address it. Because you see, at the end of the day, you do not want to attack such a critical institution in public domain without providing evidence. Because we don't dispute that one can have an issue, but it's how you address it. And we are not shutting down anybody from bringing the issues. For instance, if you have evidence against a judge or a judicial officer, what is the right thing to do? Prepare your petition or your complaint and you see, you are knowledgeable enough to know how to present it because you are surrounded, these politicians, they are surrounded by a team of very competent people who are knowledgeable. They have a battery of lawyers all the time. So they'll present that documentation to the Judicial Service Commission, and we'll have, you see, it's incumbent upon us to ensure that we also give a hearing to the person against whom this is a complaint. So due process, because it is not a discretion on our part as JSC to choose when to follow due process and when not to. We have to follow due process. Okay. And that due process has been, it is the same due process that has been used in respect to other judges and judicial officers who are even removed from office. So let us stick to the law.
Bonajero, it's when things are in the public domain or in the public arena for folks to speculate, it's kind of, different when members of the public can say, well, this is a witch hunt on the judiciary. Certain judgments are looked to go in certain directions, and that's why things are being said. But for that sentiment to come from the JSC in the manner in which you've presented it just now, to actually say that perhaps there is a desire for certain cases that are in court right now, waiting for decisions to go in a certain direction, and that is why we hear or we see this onslaught on the judiciary. That's very different, coming directly from the JSC itself.
I'm speaking in my individual capacity when I say it's not rocket science. You see, I'm also a lawyer.
Yes,
I'm also a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fly-by-night lawyer. I have now practiced over 30 years. So it is not difficult to deduce because you just need to look at the timing. And you see, it can't be, as I'm saying, that before you have no issue with the judiciary. But now when you're unhappy with certain decisions that are being made, or these decisions are pending. And you see one thing that, a statement you said, in very absolute terms. There is sub judice rule that when a matter is pending in court, you don't even discuss it.
Sure.
Now, this is a rule that has been there for centuries. Now, you are busy discussing these matters, and the judges are also busy writing their decisions. How do you expect them to dispassionately make a decision, and every day you are attacking them? And these people are also human beings. They are human beings. Now, and you expect them to make a decision. And you see now, the kind of politicians who are attacking the judiciary, they are not the backroom, small politicians. These are powerful people who are occupying very high offices.
They are not fly-by-night politicians.
Yeah, they're also not fly-by-night. That's the hard reality. So, and you see, when it comes to matters of leadership, there's also responsibility that is expected, not just of political leadership, but all leadership in whichever sector that they occupy. There's a certain way you're supposed to conduct yourself. There's a certain way you're supposed to pronounce yourself so that you can be able to inspire confidence in the institutions. You can inspire confidence in the public. You see the danger we are now facing as a country. Can you imagine an investor, somebody wants to invest in this country, and you hear an institution being attacked, being branded corrupt, that it can be, and coming from high offices. So how would you expect that investor who you want to come and help in building your economy to come to your country? How will you sell your country? Because these same politicians are the ones who are supposed to go. They're the biggest marketers for our country. In fact, when they have huge budgets, they say that we are using this budget to market our country. Now, you see, investors don't just, it's not just what you tell them in one sitting when you're talking to them. They look at the track record. They look at your they'll even Google. They'll do research. What is it that you are saying about the organs of your country, one of them being judiciary? Because if there's no rule of law, how will you put in your money, expect that when there's a dispute, that it can be heard in an unbiased manner, that only the law, facts, and evidence will apply, and there will be no undue influence based on extraneous issues that will end up taking away your investment. So these political statements coming from leaders who are manning very critical institutions against the judiciary will actually destroy the institution.
Okay.
They'll destroy the country, ultimately. And it is the Kenyans who suffer. which is why I'm saying that there has to be responsibility. And you see, these are not people who have inability to provide the evidence if they feel that a certain judge has been bribed. It's very easy because you have the ability to be able to do it and present it to the institution that is supposed to deal with it. Then now you can blame JSC. If you present the evidence and action is not taken, now you can say, we've done our part. This other institution is not doing its part, and therefore there's collusion. Now, you can be able to say confidently that the institution is not working because we've done our bit in terms of presenting our complaints. But now you've not done it. And what you're doing is that you're prosecuting your case in barazas. You are prosecuting it also in a manner that you are disadvantaging the judge, because remember these judges, they can't respond. These people have no ability. You see, a politician has ability to be able to...
He has the platforms.
They have the platform because every weekend, every day, they are addressing somebody somewhere. Now, a judge can only speak through their pen. And you see, it would even... It would be so wrong for judges now to start responding to these people. The moment they attack, they also respond in equal measure. That's not what's expected of them.
These accusations have not only come from the politicians, they have also come from seasoned advocates and jurists who have said, maybe we need another round of judicial reforms. Maybe we need to look back at what happened in the days of the Ringera, radical surgery of the judiciary. Maybe the Sharad Rao, vetting of all judges and magistrates. Maybe we need a fresh round where we can relook at the conduct of each individual judicial officer. Probably so. Have you heard that from members of the bar?
You see, my brother Eric, when you talk about the vetting and, when you talk about the Ringera surgery and all that, that was pre-2010 constitution. The way the Judicial Service Commission was constituted was very different from the way it is constituted today. The way judiciary was constituted was very different. Remember, those were the days before the 2010 constitution. The president is the one used to appoint, basically, so to speak. In fact, whenever the recommendation would come from JSC, then, which was also not properly constituted, he he could ignore. I mean, it really didn't matter. They could pick a judge from anywhere. They could pick, it was at their discretion. But things have changed. We have a new constitution. We have a Judicial Service Commission properly constituted. You have a judiciary also constituted differently. Same with the legislature, same with the executive. So this mechanism of if you have a complaint, because even some of these lawyers who also complain against these judges, they don't put in any petition, they don't put in a complaint. They put in complaints through the media. And that's what I'm saying, that that's not the way to do it, because at the end of the day, if you lose a matter in court, don't go and complain in the media and now start branding a judge or judicial officer corrupt. Even I, as a lawyer, because I also practice law, though I don't go to courts, there are sometimes you are not happy with the decision of a judicial officer or a judge, which is normal because anybody, when they lose, they'll not be happy about it. But what do we advise our clients? We tell them the process that you use is to appeal. Go to the Court of Appeal, and if the law allows, you'll go to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court never used to exist. So there are mechanisms of dealing with it. And that's why I'm saying that it doesn't mean that you cannot complain. It doesn't mean that you cannot criticize a decision. But what is the mechanism that you're going to use in pursuing your rights as provided under the Constitution of Kenya? That's what we need to learn as a country, that for us to preserve our institutions, let us not at the same time damage them. Because the moment we damage them, we become exposed. Are we forgetting about 2000? Trust that whenever we have disputes, whether political or otherwise, we can run to those institutions. So how many times do we want to continue destroying institutions that we go back to where we came from? Why do we want to have short memories?
Let's take a break and then we continue this conversation shortly. 7:30, our guest this morning, our Justice Thursday conversation is on the safeguarding the independence of the judiciary and also addressing concerns of corruption within the judiciary. The Vice Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission, the Honorable Macharia Njero, is our guest. Keep it here. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Thank you very much, Eric, and it's good to be at the Situation Room.
Always a pleasure coming here. This is the most challenging interview panel in Kenya. You guys are very well informed, and as you can see, Charles today very philosophical.
To be poor in this country is the greatest sin you can commit, not just from a legal perspective, but from life generally. It is very, very skewed.
We've just heard on the floor of Parliament, just most recently, a leader within the ODM saying that sisi ni ng'ombe za baba, which means that you are willing to be milked dry.
You cannot force me to believe. I'll give way. If it's land that I'm told to return to you, I will, okay? Because the court has said so. But I'll continue saying, watu wamenirusha. That's all that I'm doing.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
All right, cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning. We'll see highs of 23 and lows of 16. It's 16 and sunny in Nakuru with highs of 23, and 23 will be the high as well. In a sunny Nyeri at 14. It's cloudy at 14 in Eldoret with highs of 20 and lows of 13. Mostly cloudy at 26 in Mombasa with highs of 33, while Malindi is cloudy at 27. It will go to highs of 33. Kisumu is cloudy at 20 with highs of 26, while Kakamega at 18 is cloudy. We'll see highs of 25 and lows of 17. Out in Kampala, rain showers continue at 20 with highs of 28, and it's mostly cloudy at 27 in Dar es Salaam. Johannesburg is cloudy at 13 and we'll see highs of 24, while looking out into Mogadishu at 27, it's sunny, and 13 in Addis Ababa is sunny as well. It's hazy in Lagos at 24, where we'll see highs of 33, and 33 will be the high in a clear Kinshasa, currently at 23.
Spice up your life.
Okay, it's busy on the Thika Superhighway this morning, very heavy traffic coming in from the Outer Ring Junction, and even beyond that from Garden City. It doesn't look too bad on Kiambu Road until you get to right about NYS on Kiambu Road, and then going towards Muthaiga Square, it has packed up some. Limuru Road is going to be busy through the morning. We can see that all the way through to the junction of Wangari Maathai getting into the CBD. It's not too bad coming out of Westlands on Waiaki Way. Traffic is flowing pretty fair, so you're fine. There's a bit of a hold up on the Southern Bypass. It's that there is an accident that's taken place there, but we're going to keep an eye on that and see what has happened. This is inbound traffic going out then towards Mombasa Road. So we'll check on that in a bit and see what causes all of that. Have insights to that, let us know. On Gong Road, it's also starting to build. We're looking at traffic on Magadi Road as well, coming in through towards Langata Road and then out towards the city. Traffic hour, we're in it. It has begun. Let's keep an eye on it and see how it progresses through the morning. And we'll talk on Spice FM, KE on X.
Are you ready? Okay. Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Justice Thursday conversation continues with the Vice Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission, the Honourable Mashari Njero. The President has responded to the statement by the JSC Chair, and he says, I am ready and willing to meet with the Chief Justice. The Law Society of Kenya has said, no, you shouldn't. Senior Counsel Kalonzo Musyoka, leader of Wiper, no, you shouldn't. Raila, no, you shouldn't. Others have said, no, you shouldn't.
Again, I don't want to say what the Chief Justice will do or not do, because at the end of the day, she's the chair of the commission. And you must also remember she's also the head of the judiciary.
Yeah.
And you see, judiciary, it's also independent of Judicial Service Commission. So the Chief Justice wears those two hats, among other hats. And of course, we can't tie our hands. It's upon her to make a decision on how best to handle some of those situations. But one thing we cannot lose sight of is that as the head of an arm of government, I don't think it would be right for us to say that she can't meet another head of another arm of government. Because, you see, apart from the issues now that are rising now, that are in the public domain, there are many other issues that relate to the different institutions. And to say that she will never meet the other arm, the other head of arm of government, the president of the country, I don't think that's practical. It's not realistic, because there are always other issues that need to be discussed, not necessarily what is happening now.
The challenge that they're raising is this meeting on this particular issue. The issue that the head of the executive is raising is complaining about the conduct of the judiciary in doing its job. And they say that if the head of the judiciary goes to meet with the president to have a conversation about how the judiciary should conduct its affairs, then that amounts to the head of the judiciary basically allowing herself to be controlled by the head of the executive.
It's not even possible. That I can tell you, that it's not possible for the Chief Justice to sit and discuss how judges should conduct themselves when they are dealing with the matters that are live in court. It's not possible, because judges are independent. They have decisional independence, and there's nothing we can do about that. In fact, it doesn't matter how many times we shout in public platforms. It doesn't matter how much we keep discussing the issue. It's a discussion that amounts to nothing, so to speak. And I'll tell you why. Judges, remember, JSC is the employer of judges and judicial officers.
Yes.
When they are being taken through a disciplinary process, it is JSC that takes them through that process.
Yes.
Yet, judges and judicial officers all the time make decisions against JSC. There are many times they rule in our favor. There are many times they rule against us. And when they rule against us, what do? We go to the higher court. We go to the appeal court. And many times at the appeal court, we reverse those decisions. Many times appeal court has said, no, the judge was right. And what do? We go back to our boardroom, look at what we are supposed to regularize, whether it's a policy, whether it's a procedure, and we do it. We've never attacked them and told them that you are corrupt or you are cartels. Because we just use the process. Or
started disciplinary proceedings.
Or start disciplinary process against them. In fact, there are judges who have ruled against us, and then they've come back to us saying, when there's an application for you to go to the Court of Appeal, and they come and they appear before us, seeking now to go to the higher court to go and rule against us again. And we've taken them if they are good. So it's not an issue. And that's what I'm saying. It is simply not practically possible to say that the Chief Justice is going to discuss about how the judges are going to conduct themselves regarding how they're going to determine the matters. It's simply not possible. It's not possible. So if that is the nature of the discussion, it's a discussion to nowhere. But if you are talking about other issues about how do we ensure that we're able to relate in a manner that protects the integrity, that will be able to inspire confidence in the institution, how do you ensure that you can be able to empower the institution? Because, listen, my brothers, I would be okay, for instance, my brothers and sisters, I would be okay, like, for instance, if the executive were to say, whichever decisions that the judiciary is making, can you expedite so that we can know where we stand regarding a project? That would be a valid point. Because not just the government, even members of the public keep saying, justice delayed, it's justice denied. We want matters to be expedited. But that will also be an opportunity for us as judiciary and JSC to say, what are the key ingredients that we need to put in this meal so that we can be able to achieve the desired taste. If you want us to expedite, please, can you increase our budget, because we need to employ more judges, but you are underfunding us. So we are not able to process these matters as quickly as possible because we have less hands, for instance. Can you be able to help us to continue putting up these courts, because you're not giving us enough money? We need to also improve on our technology. We need to put in more. So those discussions are valid if they are desired towards empowering and building the respective institutions for the greater good of the public. But to go and discuss about decisions, it's not possible.
So all of these things that you're saying, for me, lends to one direction, where we do have the three arms of government. We know what they are: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. Are we then saying that all of these, whether it's public outburst, whether it's innuendo,
from the executive, whether it's direct onslaught from the executive or anybody else, that then the judiciary, in the way in which it has been prescribed then, does not hold independence as an arm of government because of these things that we see?
You see, the institutions have to be independent, there's no doubt, but they're also interdependent. They have to relate. Because if you say that everybody operates in a silo, it can't work. It simply can't work because all the three arms of government, like the Chief Justice said, is like a three-legged stool.
Mhm.
They need each other. And you see, they're all geared towards serving the public. But when it comes to the operations of the institution, when it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no, because the moment you start doing that and you lose the public, you have nothing left for you. In fact, I dare say, for the judiciary, you don't need the confidence of the politicians. What you need is the confidence of the public. Because see, the problem with the politicians, they'll say 5 different things in one day, to a point whereby in the morning what they say, by evening you don't know exactly what is their position. So why would you, as a judiciary or indeed any other institution, expect that you're going to inspire confidence, you're going to get confidence, or you want happiness from the politicians? It won't help you.
Okay.
So you are better off with the public because the public will always stand for you. And in any event, we are all public before we are anything else.
Okay. You did say that the judiciary has challenges. The issue of corruption has come up before. This latest, what many are calling an attack, would not be the first time that allegations of corruption in the judiciary have been made. You did say that, yes, there are challenges. Corruption possibly being one of them. So the question is, even before the onslaught, what is the JSC doing about issues of corruption in the judiciary as a threat to process?
Now, I'll start by saying this, that there'll never be a time in the existence of humanity that will say that you'll always have a clean slate in any institution, whether historically, whether presently, whether in future. It's not possible. And that's why we put in these checks and balances to ensure that you can be able to mitigate or contain, but not to say that you'll be able to eradicate altogether. And I can tell you that some of these challenges that will relate even to an institution like judiciary, they are not unique to us. Even in developed democracies, if you just Google and go through, do some research, you'll find that those challenges, whether in America, it's something that is always being. In fact, right now, one of the debates is against a Supreme Court judge in the United States of America, Clarence Thomas. Now, as Judicial Service Commission, I just, in fact, at the outset, I said, last year alone, 3 judges exited. And no, removing a judge, I can tell you, Eric, and I can tell you, Indu, is that it's not a walk in the park. It's a very elaborate process. Removing a judicial officer is also not a walk in the park. But we've done it. It's in the public. In fact, very recently, we've seen one exiting. So it's not that we've not done it. We've done it many times. And we'll continue doing it. So what we normally do, this is a process. Like if you have a petition against a judge, you bring it to the JSC. It is processed. We have a very elaborate complaints and investigation department that we've recently created at the JSC. In fact, we've picked one of the most experienced investigators, somebody who can make sure that these investigations are conducted independently and very expeditiously. Now, when these complaints are processed by a committee, which currently I chair, then it is taken to the full commission with the recommendations. And where we find that there's no culpability, it's a matter, for instance, that relates to a decision that was made by a judge. That JSC cannot determine because we are not an appeal court. They have decision independence, so you have to advise the party, this decision independence, just follow the process. But if you find that this misconduct, what do? We tell the judges to respond and we give them 21 days. After 21 days, if you are not satisfied, we create a panel where they're taken through a hearing like the one that is in court. And if we indeed find that there's evidence against that judge, we now forward those recommendations to the president to have a tribunal set up, and then it will determine. If the tribunal says that the judge should be sent home, they'll be sent home.
Yeah.
And even then, remember, they also have a right to appeal.
The judge still can appeal.
Can appeal to the Supreme Court. That is due process. Now, the process is slightly different for the magistrates because it starts with the Chief Justice, but eventually it lands with the Commission.
Yeah.
And we still follow again a process. At the end of the day, you have to give a right to be heard to the other party.
But then, in all this, the JSC is moved by a complaint.
Yes.
Right? Does the JSC move out of its own volition? Like seeing
Absolutely.
there's a trend here, and so let's take action.
We do.
Give us examples.
In fact, there are several, which of course I can't discuss now, that you're already undertaking independently. We do that, and the law allows us to do that. We don't have to wait to be moved. Sometimes we'll notice a matter, we'll see a trend. We also have our own ways, as an institution of being able to get information.
Yeah.
And we do that. We do that all the time, as we should. So, and then the other thing I'll also tell you is that, just to give an example, last month alone, as JSC, we constitute ourselves into teams, and we visited 56 court stations in 34 counties. And what we were doing is that, first and foremost, interacting with our judges and judicial officers and reminding them about the obligation to the public, reminding them about the Judicial Code of Conduct. And we have a very elaborate Judicial Code of Conduct that stipulates how a judge or a judicial officer or even our staff are supposed to conduct themselves, reminding them, because human beings need that constant reminder. We're also meeting the public, the business people, the civil society, the government officers who are at the station level. All those combined, it's not just our staff, our judges and judicial officers, also the members of the public, through what you call the court users committees, and engaging them and asking them, where do you think we are doing things right? Where do you think we are doing things wrong? What is the way that you think we can be able to collaborate and make things better in the interest of the public? And we are doing it robustly. We have fact sheets. In fact, we have documents, some of which even have carried here for you to see, which one of them is JSC at a glance, that provides clear mechanism through which you can put in a petition when you want to put in a petition. We have documents, how do you complain, where we're informing the public. We have that Judicial Code of Conduct, that Judicial, Service Code of Conduct and Ethics. So we have all these documents, and you can see these documents, we didn't develop them after we started being attacked in public. They were there, and we're already doing the job. So that shows you that there's that intention to make things right and ensure that judiciary is also accountable, because we accept that even as judiciary is independent, it must be accountable. Nobody has a quarrel with that. It is how you do it, the process that you follow in holding the judiciary to account, that is wrong.
Is now up for debate.
Absolutely.
Let me take you back into since 2013. All right, so we have a new government, new system of government. Constitution is now being implemented robustly. Since then, with the Uhuru Kenyatta administration up to the very end, and now with the William Ruto administration, something that is emerging is where the executive feels that the courts are being used to stall their projects. Even Parliament sometimes feeling that the courts are being used for political expediency. Political battles are now being fought using the courts. And it's basically amounting to abuse of the court process, if one may push that argument to that very end, where somebody goes to court under certificate of urgency and says, there's a certain matter that's happening, and I'd like the court to halt it. And then we come and discuss. And the matter takes another X number of months under discussion, with applications, in various courts. There's an application before the Constitutional Court. There's another application happening somewhere in another high court. It's basically just stalling this thing. In the meantime, everything halt. And even if you look today, what the president was saying yesterday, he's accusing the opposition leaders of working with economic saboteurs to frustrate government efforts to improve the economy and liberate Kenyans. He defended his decision to engage with the judiciary. He's saying, there are cartels and other economic saboteurs who are responsible for this. They see a government project that has started. They rush to court. They don't have an argument as yet. They just say that, you know what, this one is wrong, it's unconstitutional, it's violating a certain section of the law. Can you please order the executive to hold it as we hear this, as you hear this matter? And the first thing that happens is that project stalls, and then it takes a long time for it to be concluded. What do you respond to that?
My brother Eric, you see, when a judge is making temporary orders, they will not just make an order that is not supported by evidence at the time when somebody is seeking an order under certificate of urgency, because it's an affidavit. There will be material presented to them. Of course, how they rule is not within my province to say this is what determines the direction they take. But what we know, now speaking as a lawyer, is that they are guided by the material that is before them. That's what will determine. And not all the times that a party is given ex parte orders. You see, we'll give prominence to some of the matters which could be of great public interest where those orders have been issued, but there are also very many other matters equally of great public interest where orders have not been given. I know that for a fact also, again, as a practicing lawyer. So it will not be correct to say that it's in all these matters that orders are issued. But even then, I would want us to compare with other jurisdictions and give you also very prominent situations where courts in other jurisdictions have done the same. A classic example is the UK government, where the government at some point in time was literally having a plane taxiing to remove refugees and take them to Rwanda. And were stopped right in their tracks by a high court. The UK government was unhappy. They went to the Court of Appeal. Then after the Court of Appeal, it went even to the highest court in the UK. Now, and they were stopped finally, and they were told that the process that you're using, in spite of the negotiations you've undertaken with the Rwandese government, is not right. And yet, it's a very major issue in the UK government. In fact, it's one of the key planks in the policies and that have been set up by the government in the UK. And they were very unhappy. But you didn't hear them saying, these judges are frustrating the government, they are cartels, they've been corrupted. You didn't hear that. I'll give you another example of Argentina. There's the new president, some maverick, a guy called Javier Milei. The guy, when he was campaigning, he talked a lot about labor and economic reforms. And he came up with comprehensive, he had a lot of, regulations and that he came up with, and he said, this is the first thing I'm going to do the moment I'm sworn in. And sure enough, when he was sworn in, he came up with a raft of these labor and economic reforms. They were stopped by a court. And he was told, no, yes, you're doing it, but against the law. An injunction was issued. I have checked. I have not seen that guy saying that those guys are cartels or they are out to sabotage his government. I'll also give you an example. Previously, before this guy, there was a president called Alberto Fernandez, again of Argentina. And this guy, there was a dispute over the allocation of funds amongst the various states in Argentina. And he said that the state of Buenos Aires was being allocated a lot of money. So they came up with a policy, and as they were coming up with the regulation, they gave that state less money. Somebody went to court and said, no, you can't do that. And in fact, they went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, no, you are going to increase the allocation of the state of Buenos Aires. Alberto Fernandez said, how can a court which is not elected be the one now to determine for us how we are going to allocate funds? I'm going to disobey this court order. But within 7 days, he changed his mind. And I'll quote what he said. He said, judicial decisions are binding, even when they appear disadvantageous or unfair. And consequently, we are going to implement the court order. And he did exactly that. So, the state of Israel recently, the famous case where the government of Netanyahu was also saying that it cannot be upon the courts to determine the reasonableness of the policy of the government, the test of reasonableness. And he said, we have to change the law. And indeed, he tried to change the law using the Knesset, the equivalent of our parliament. And they went ahead and did exactly that. The Supreme Court, 8:7 ruled otherwise and said, you cannot, our democratic setup in the state of Israel, if you start saying that the courts cannot interfere when it comes to a policy that is illegal, then you are disrupting the entire democratic setup of the state of Israel. So we are saying an absolute no.
Now, why am I giving those examples amongst many others? Because, those are the ones I can give because of the issue of time. Is to demonstrate to you that the manner in which our courts are conducting itself here is not unusual for any democracy that is geared towards respecting its constitutions, any democracy that is geared towards ensuring that it's enhancing the rule of law. That's the way to go. But you don't say cartels, you don't say about corruption, you don't say all these things. Opposition, you don't say all those things because it's our democracy. We have 2010 constitution. That's what we chose for ourselves. Unless you don't believe in it as a politician. But if you do believe in it, please infuse the spirit of that constitution in the entire fabric of the society so that you can have a better country. But more importantly, I know for a fact, sitting as a Kenyan, that no matter what we try to do to undermine the 2010 constitution, it's here to stay. There's nothing we can do about it. And the earlier all of us, wherever we sit, understand that we'll make our lives easier by just respecting it, by looking for all manner of, for looking for ways and means of abiding by it so that our lives can become better. That's the way the country will be able to move forward. Now, I'll answer your question about the issue of the timelines. For instance, when you say that even during the Uhuru government, they were saying that sometimes courts will take long and it ends up affecting the government projects. I recall that there were discussions then that when it came to the public procurement matters, for instance, that it was taking too long and it was stalling procurement process, and again it was affecting service delivery. And it is for that reason the law was changed to say that when you are objecting to a procurement, there are timelines. Right from the time when it comes before the Public Procurement Board, where it's determined, up to the time when it comes to the High Court, up to the time when it goes to the Court of Appeal. There's a strict timeline that is provided for, and you have to abide by it. You recall there was also a complaint where it was being said that when it came to petitions, against, say, for instance, members of parliament, that sometimes it was taking too long to a point where you find that an undeserving member of parliament has served the entire term. Yeah. That's why there was a timeline that was imposed. That's why I'm saying we cannot say that we cannot continuously improve. In fact, it's only say that in any situation, the biggest mistake you can make is to assume, it's grandiosity where you say now you've succeeded, you're doing well, you don't need to improve. We accept that discussions can always be had about how to continuously improve, which is why I'm saying if those are the kind of discussions you'll be having, that's quite in order. We can say that can we improve on timelines? Can we ensure that so that we know where we stand and we're able to move on? But now the problem is when you are starting from the premise that it is corruption that is making decisions go a certain way, that is cartels, that is sabotage from the judiciary, you are not creating the right ecosystem that will allow for meaningful discussions. And it's for that reason I'm saying that then you cannot say that it's good faith, because in any discussion, like equity, there has to be clean hands from both hands.
Clean hands, where politicians are concerned. Really?
They are our politicians. See, at the end of the day, we'll never do away with them because we are the ones who elect them. And sometimes we say that we get the leadership that we deserve. They are politicians. See, remember, these people don't get themselves to office. But we must also remember that...
But do we elect them to do the things that they end up doing, really? Does that represent what it is?
It's not the mandate that we give them.
No, because it is like the mandate we give them was to go and do the things they do, which we keep complaining about. That isn't the mandate. They choose their own mandate and go their own merry way.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree that a lot of times they fail us. There are also some who actually do the right thing. Again, we can't condemn them wholesome. But by and large, it is upon us also as a public to also hold them to account. And when they do wrong, we must say no. Like we are saying now, these discussions are also good for our country because it also speaks to the democracy we have. And I'll also tell you this, that I recall last year, I bumped into the Secretary General of IGAD. I don't know him, but he was introduced to me. And the first thing he told me the moment he knew that I work with the Judicial Service Commission is that what we admire most about Kenya is the independence of the judiciary. I was telling you about a guy called Akpata, the former Nigeria Bar Association president. He was saying the same thing, that Kenya
is a trailblazer when it comes to the judiciary independence. So let's not destroy that.
Macharia Njero, the Vice Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission, he's been our guest this morning. Keep it here for more conversations. Good morning, 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Judicial Service Commission Vice Chairperson Macharia Njero has denied allegations that there is rampant corruption in the judiciary. He told SpiceFM that the ongoing allegations against the judiciary come at a time when there are matters pending in various courts against several government projects, and that the conversations are choreographed to intimidate the judiciary.
It can't be that before you have no issue with the judiciary, but now when you're unhappy with certain decisions that are being made, or these decisions are pending. And you see one thing, there is sub judice rule that when a matter is pending in court, you don't even discuss it. Now, you are busy discussing these matters, and the judges are also busy writing their decisions. How do you expect them to dispassionately make a decision, and every day you are attacking them? And you know, these people are also human beings, and you expect them to make a decision. And you see now, the kind of politicians who are attacking the judiciary, they are not the backroom, small politicians. These are powerful people who are occupying very high office. And you see, when it comes to matters of leadership, there's also responsibility that is expected, not just of political leadership, but all leadership in whichever sector that they occupy.
He added that the JSC is there to handle complaints against judiciary staff, and that there is a process to be followed and which must be followed by all.
You can't speak from the both sides of the mouth that judiciary is corrupt when decisions don't go your way, and judiciary is very good when decisions are made in your favor. So we accept as JSC that whenever there are challenges that relate to judges and judicial officers, we are there under the Constitution to process those complaints. Action has been taken against judges, action has been taken against magistrates, action again has been taken even against our judicial staff. But see, at the end of the day, whatever issues we have against an institution that is as important as the judiciary, it is how we address it, because you do not want to attack such a critical institution in public domain without providing evidence, because we don't dispute that one can have an issue, but it's how you address it.
He added that the attack against the judiciary works against the government and the republic, as it scares those that would be investors in the country, hence the need for responsibility from all leaders.
You see the danger we are now facing as a country. Can you imagine somebody wants to invest in this country, and you hear an institution being attacked, being branded corrupt, and coming from high offices? So how would you expect that investor to come to your country? How will you sell that your country? Because these same politicians are the ones who are supposed to go. They're the biggest marketers for our country. In fact, when they have huge budgets, they say that we are using this budget to market our country. Now, you see, investors don't just, it's not just what you tell them in one sitting when you're talking to them. They look at the track record, they look at your they'll even Google, they'll do research. What is it that you are saying about the organs of your country, one of them being judiciary? Because if there's no rule of law, how will you put in your money, expect that when there's a dispute, that it can be heard in an unbiased manner, that only the law, facts and evidence will apply, and there will be no undue influence based on extraneous issues that will end up taking away your investment.
Former Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has condemned Kenya Council government for lying to Kenyans from the Western Bloc that it would revive the sugar sector.
Munajua hapa magharibi mwa Kenya, Western Kenya, kitu ya muhimu ya uchumi wetu ni kukuza miwa. Wakati wa kutafuta kura, wale watu wa Kenya kwanza walikuwa wanakuja Tanzania Sugar Company, wanasema wataleta mtambo mpya wa hapa wa factory. Wamefika mwaka mmoja na nusu, mtambo mpya umekuja.
He now wants National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula to focus on national politics and engage other leaders from the region if he has presidential ambitions in the future.
Moses Wetangula, yeye ni speaker wa National Assembly. Yeye ni kiongozi wa kitaifa. Ukiwa kiongozi wa kitaifa uweze kunalia Bungoma kama unanalia mayai. Na unatafuta kuwa president wa nchi hii. Paka wewe uwache Bungoma na wengine watembea hapo watafute kula vile utapewa nafasi ya kutafuta kula mahali pengine katika Kenya mzima. Ukitaka kuwa rais wa Kenya, huwezi kuwa rais wa Kenya na wabunge tano.
The government of Kenya has disbursed 192 billion shillings to technical and vocational education and training institutions with the aim of creating a conducive environment for enhanced learning and skill development across the country. The cash injection, Education Principal Secretary Esther Moria says, will be directed towards providing crucial support for tuition, training materials, utilities and co-curricular activities across the institutions. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
Still a bit of traffic on the southern bypass this morning, and it's coming in towards the CBD. It'll probably touch on Mombasa Road at some point. Not quite sure what was the cause of that. All indications that there was an accident that is going to cause a little bit of friction for some time. It's heavy on Magadi Road coming out towards Langata Road, and then coming in from the Great Ngong Road, it's touching then round at the bypass. So all of this looks a little bit messy as we're coming into the city. It's also busy on Gong Road this morning, coming in from Naivasha Road, touching on Riara a little bit, and will come out towards James Gishuru at some point, out through towards Westlands. Incoming traffic from the Thika Superhighway is quite heavy. And we're also looking at traffic on Kiambu Road this morning. Limuru Road is also at a standstill in some parts. All of this coming in through towards the CBD and slowing things down considerably on the Globe Cinema overpass. We are in traffic hour proper this morning, keeping an eye on things and trying to keep them moving. Help us with info. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on X.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
Yes, indeed.
The
and thank
only
you very
way
much
to
for
start
tuning
your
in. This
day.
is the only way to start your day every weekday morning on Spice FM, on KTN Home, on YouTube or on Facebook. As we get into the third hour of the Situation Room, we are going to talk about schools, and we have to start with school fees.
Yes.
Item number one.
School fees.
Shop.
Go to the shop.
Go.
Pick.
Today I'm giving you many.
Such a good man.
Pass them around.
Thursday.
Pass them around.
I'll do that. So, you've been to the shop, as many others will when we're saying we're talking about school fees, right? Right. Okay, so you're going to go to the shop and you're going to pick up a tin. You will do like Eric did this morning. Your duka may not look like this, but whatever. Pick up a tin of this kiwi. This one with the yellow logo. You see? Yes. Now, when you do that, you will find that there's a yellow starburst on it. We're going into school, buying school fees. We've not introduced our guests, but I've tasked you with information this morning. So just go with me.
Okay.
Starburst, yellow. See it? Yes. Say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then there's a code there. *459*5#. You see it? So I'm not lying, right?
Yeah.
Right. So then you will buy this, or you can buy the small one, whichever is your pleasure. You'll pick up your phone. You will dial *459*5#. And when you pop the lid under under this, don't pop it. But when you do, when you go to the shop, you'll get that code. Okay?
Okay.
Then you input.
Okay.
And Gafla Binvu, you get airtime or data. See, nice things, incentives. Then, on top of that, you'll enter into a draw. This draw is seeing 4 people every week, 35,000 shillings. Not for going to the bar. It goes directly to school fees. School fees, direct. And you know, school fees, there's uniform, there's what? Rag for brush,
Many
cleaning.
things.
All of these things can be taken care of because you bought kiwi. And it doesn't have to be you. Maybe school fees has been paid for. It can, and it's primary school, secondary school, university. Fees can be taken care of. You can do it for you. You can do it for somebody else. Let's take off some of that pressure just because you went to the shop like Eric did and you bought kiwi.
35,000 shillings times 4 winners
every week.
Yes. Hey.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I know somebody, I can see her smiling. Wawira Njiro is our guest, one of our guests this morning. She's a social entrepreneur. She's a CEO of Food for Education. So that resonates with you completely.
It does.
Right?
It does. Yes.
Where children are going to be able to go to school because, I mean, the school fees that's been paid because all you did was buy them shoe polish, which you also gave them anyway because they need it.
And there's still time. Because kids are still reporting to school,
yes,
right? Some have not paid school fees, still not happening. We can still do this.
And by the way, there's second term, there's third term, there's a new year.
Yeah, as long as pesa imeenda kwa shule.
As long as the students going to school, school fees is needed.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The other guest who's also here with us in the studio is the Minister of the Nairobi City County Government in charge of health, wellness and nutrition, CCM Susan Silantoi. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Very good. Welcome both of you to the hot seats of the Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How's it?
On the 18th.
See, until June.
Yeah, exactly. If I see you in November, it's still Happy New Year.
As long as I haven't seen you this year.
For as long as I'm not seeing you.
It can be December 31st.
Yeah. Oh, Happy New Year. And
as long as I'm seeing you for the first time in the calendar year, it's a Happy New Year, right? To welcome you to the conversation is CT Muga. He's going to give you the proverb, but before he gives you the proverb, he'll tell you about the Maramoja Taxi. The Maramoja Taxi is the new taxi app. It's available in Nairobi, in Mombasa, in Nakuru, in Kisumu, in Naivasha.
All major cities and towns of the country.
Yes.
Many benefits. Many benefits. Let's start with something that most Kenyans relate to. They have a wallet. But before you get to the wallet, let's talk about how you register. If you Google, you'll come across Maramoja Transport Company. Look for a blue app. Like it's a simple name, phone number, email address. That's it. Then you're told, proceed. And you proceed. But of interest, once you've proceeded, you will find that among the things that you're offered, apart from the rides that you will probably be securing, they have a wallet where you can actually deposit money. Now, any amount you deposit, automatically they load 50% of that again to your wallet. And if you think that's the end of the story, there's a promotion code. If, as you are seeking to hail a taxi, you key in SPICE30 as a promo code, you get another 30% discount.
Nice.
Now, all these stories before you actually even start riding.
Imagine.
By the time you hail the taxi person communicates with you. As they say in Kenya, you are ahead.
Bas. Wewe, uko mbele. You're in front. City. So this week's proverbs, ladies, are from Nigeria. Now you listen to the proverb very keenly because City is going to give it to us in pidgin.
Oh, wow.
And then Ndu is going to refine the pidgin. And it's your job to translate it to English and then give us your interpretation of it.
Right.
Start, City.
On your marks.
One day.
Once upon a time. One day, breeze go blow and foul dash go open.
She knows what it is.
Say it, Ndu.
Just the same way. One day, breeze go blow and foul nyash go open.
Open. So, Antonio, let's start with you, Ozzy. In English, please.
I think they've got it.
Yes, now that's what I told you.
They've got it.
One day the wind will blow and bird smelling behind will open. Maybe to say that, one day it's like there'll be a storm and then your bad side will be exposed, maybe. I don't know.
What do you say?
I agree. That's how I interpreted it. One day, the things we try to hide will be exposed.
Indeed.
That's the hidden forever.
We would say, voila, you're both absolutely right. This is the beauty of Proverbs and the interpretation. You can't be wrong with the interpretation, really.
How do you say voila in pidgin?
Naso.
Bas.
But where do you get all your proverbs from?
Africa.
Once upon a time.
Is that a book you read? Please recommend the book. Kindly.
It's research.
Kindly.
It's deep research. Now, as the schools opened last week, the Nairobi City County government announced that more children were going to benefit from the school feeding program called Dish in a County. 184,000 learners in 106 schools in the new phase, and the one that was launched last year in August. Some 80,000 children have been receiving food every school day in 45 schools, and now we have increased the number of schools. So this whole conversation about school feeding program is why we are here this morning, and talking about over 180,000 children receiving food. So Wawera is started this business some years back of doing kitchens and schools, and you'll start by telling us what that is all about, and then we'll come into the county and the operationalization of this particular program. So let's start with Wawera. What is Food for Education?
Food for Education, we're a social enterprise, a non-profit, and we provide school lunches. So we started 12 years ago, actually, this month. It was a passion project. I'm a nutritionist. I grew up in Ruiru, which is sort of not far from here.
Sort of.
And I grew up in Ruiru, and I just wanted to do something to benefit the kids because I knew the impact education had on me and on my family. I was an international student in Australia. You know, I knew people who had $20, $30, a bit more income than they needed, and so I asked them for a little bit of their money. It was about $1,680 in Australia, which translated to about 125,000 shillings at the time. That's what we used to build a makeshift kitchen, started feeding 25 children. So that was 12 years ago. I finished my degree. I moved back to Kenya, and we started building central kitchens after that. So in about 2016, we launched our first central kitchen. In 2020 or 2021, one of the years, we launched our second one. It was in Dagoretti South with the Honorable KJ. And around that time, just after COVID, we met the then Senator Johnson Sakaja, and he was, really passionate about school feeding. And so we started talking about the impact, and he saw the impact. He visited the kitchen in Mukarara. At the same time, we were growing as well. So we have now operations in Mombasa, in Kisumu, in Murang'a, in different parts of the country. But really, one of the biggest operations we have right now is in Nairobi County that has just been launched under the Dish in a County programs, working with Nairobi County to support them through our school feeding expertise. But they're really the leader of school feeding within Nairobi County through Dish in a County.
What is Central Kitchen? Because you've talked about Central Kitchen. You launched your Central Kitchens. What's that?
That's a really good question. So central kitchens are a way to improve economies of scale, to control quality. So it's a huge kitchen. We actually have one very close to here. So we have our smallest kitchen is about 10,000 capacity. We go up to 60,000 capacity kitchens.
10,000 what?
Meals. Per production. And the central kitchen model, we really mirrored it according to best practice around the world. If you go, for example, to Java, your samosa is the same across all Javas because it's produced centrally and then distributed to the branches. Many people actually don't know that. If you go to another restaurant chain, a huge restaurant chain, production is done centrally to control quality, to leverage economies of scale, and to to make sure that everyone is getting the same service. So we built these kitchens that are high technology, that are centralized, and then we distribute the food using trucks to different schools. We don't make the schools so far from the kitchen so that the food remains hot. We do temperature checks on dispatch and at arrival because there are global standards to how much what the temperature should be when food is being served, and then the food is served on site. So it's a way to reduce cost and also to control for quality.
You said Food for Education is a social enterprise, it's not for profit.
Yes.
What does that mean? That you're not making any money out of this?
No.
Okay.
Why? Because you want to feed children, because the question that why would anybody enter into an operation of such grandeur and then not have any kind of commercial benefit from it in today's world?
I mean, I would ask the question, why does the UN exist? Why does different agencies that do, churches do charity work? The social enterprise piece is really a way of building a way according to use business ways of running a business, so the same discipline of production, of distribution, but your goal is not profit, it's impact. So for me, when I started, I grew up in a family where my parents were pastors, so I wanted to give back. That was something in my DNA always, to give back. So I mean, everyone at Food for Education, obviously we pay salaries and everyone gets money, but gets their monthly salaries, but we're not looking at making a profit. We're not trying to get a cut out of the businesses, out of what we're doing.
Please explain how this works. It sounds really good. Okay. So, who funds it? How is it funded? How do you make sure the funding continues? How do you make sure that the people who get the food are the ones who really need it?
Yeah, so we're funded by philanthropy, both here. We have a lot of donors here in Kenya, individual donors, people who send in their 20 shillings, their 30 shillings, because what we do is we subsidize the meals. So the meals are a cost that is allocated either to parents, and we make sure that cost is fair for the parent, and we take the rest of the cost, and it's funded by philanthropy both here and across the world. And then in terms of how we ensure that it's the most vulnerable kids, we serve public schools, so we ensure that every child in that school has access to the meals.
Okay. Waziri Silantoi, the Dishina County School Feeding Program is a public funded program, right? Where budget that's approved by the City County Assembly of Nairobi is now being used to run this particular program. There have been very many questions asked. How much, for example, in this particular year, and how is it going, and how do you determine the amount of money that you need? Let's start from there. How much has been allocated in the current financial year for school feeding?
So this financial year we have about 1.7 billion that is allocated for the school feeding program. That's both for development and also for the subsidy, the food itself. So the infrastructure, the development bit of it is actually the central kitchens. And you've seen we've done about 10 central kitchens so far. Those are in 10 different sub-counties. We are embarking on 7 more next week, which will be complete hopefully by the second term. So that's the budget that is allocated for it. And then in terms of the subsidy, we're paying 25 shillings per meal per child per day.
The county government is paying?
The county government is paying 25 shillings.
And the parents pay?
The parents would pay 5 shillings.
5 shillings?
Yeah.
Now when you say completed, does it mean that the central kitchens are now operational?
Yes. All 10 of them are operational. There are 10 in the 10 different sub-counties. One is right here in Kwanjenga Primary School, which is not too far from you. And then we have 10 of them spread across the county. But it's important to know that there's always been an allocation for school feeding, even at the national level, especially at the national level. There's some allocation for ECDs at county levels, but there's also an allocation at the national level. The difference between what we are doing and what the national government is doing is they would have cash transfers to the schools, majority of them. So for example, you go to Toi Primary School, you have 5,000 children. The national government will calculate a certain amount of money that will be enough for your maize and beans and maybe your energy, and the school is responsible for sourcing and cooking and then providing the meal. So like Owera said, when you centrally cook, it reduces the cost, because you can imagine buying just one bag of maize for this particular place, unlike buying for 10,000 meals in a day. Of course, the economies of scale makes better sense from that perspective. So we've just changed the model.
What exactly do these children then eat? The food?
Now or
subsidized food. Yes. There's a menu, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Okay, what do they eat?
They eat a nutritionally balanced meal. It makes sure that there's protein, there's carbohydrates, there is vegetables. So we do a lot of rice, a lot of green grams, maybe beans. Sometimes we throw in some meat, and then we'll keep modifying the menu as we move along. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll leave it at that.
So the county is paying 25 shillings.
Yeah.
Parents are paying 5 shillings. Does that mean the meal is 30 shillings?
So the meal itself costs about 45 shillings.
Okay. So where does 15 shillings come from?
So the 15 shillings comes from our partner, Food for Education, through the donors. So our donors through Food for Education will give us 15 shillings for the meal. Then the parent will pay 5 bob, and then we pay 25 shillings.
Okay.
Yeah.
So looking at schools in Nairobi, because this is now where, obviously, we're talking about Nairobi County, so it's schools within the county that are benefiting from this, or rather children in schools that are benefiting from this. How do you then decide which schools then will have access to these meals? And what has it been like since this was instituted, where children are being fed? Has it been regular, everyday feeding for how many children?
Yeah, so I mean, our target to begin with is all public schools. And what we've done is we're implementing this program in a phased approach. So we started with phase 1, which Eric mentioned was 45 schools last term. That was about over 80,000 kids. This second term, we're doing 106 schools out of the 235, both ECD and primary school, public. And then in May, we hope to complete the entire scope. In terms of how we chose which schools to begin with, we definitely chose schools that are more that needed the service a little bit more. So currently we're covering just about all schools in every informal settlement. So if you go to Mathare, if you go to Kwanjenga, if you go to Kibra, if you go to Korogosho, you'll find that we've covered a majority of the schools. And then, of course, it's based on the infrastructure that is available. So the number of meals that I'm able to produce, then I can feed the kids, which I would prioritize in most schools in the informal settlements. And these are public, primary, and ECD schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means you're talking about just primary. Now we don't have primary. What's it called? The one up to grade 6, what's it called?
Primary.
It's called primary.
Now the whole thing is okay. So is it
NJSS?
Is it up to grade 6 or is it up to grade 8 now?
It's up to grade 8. Yeah. So any student in the locality of a primary school gets to be fed every day. Yes, every day.
And it's every day.
Every day.
For lunch.
For lunch.
1 meal a day.
Yes.
Do they have anything to drink?
Well,
apart from water.
At the moment, no. Not that we provide.
Do the teachers eat this meal?
Yes.
Okay, now have the officials at the county level shared in this meal at some point or the other randomly?
Yeah. Yes, actually, in fact, before we began the program in August last year, we had meals for all our city council staff at City Hall. So we served meals for everybody, and they ate so that they know what their children are going to be eating. And every so often, we're always in some school sharing lunch one time with the kids. So I think last week we did about 7 schools. This week we've done another 2. So we're always in the schools and we eat the meal that the children eat.
There's no special food for visitors.
Okay. Wawera, you said it's not a nutritious meal. What is this? Is it githeri? Is it ugali skuma? What is it? Chapati mandondo? What are you giving the children?
You heard what you said.
Nutritious.
This and then once in a while they throw in.
It's balanced in terms of, if you look at, so I'm a nutritionist. Yes. When Food for Education is designing the meal, we think about what the children need. So children at that stage of growth require protein. So making sure that it is balanced in terms of having protein. You look at other school feeding programs, even in the country, have a quarter of the meal is protein. Less than a quarter of the meal is protein, because actually a fifth of the meal is protein. They're looking at 20% protein. We're looking at 50% protein. So we make sure that the kids are getting a balanced 1-to-1 ratio. And because that also helps with why they tell you to drink protein shakes is because protein helps with satiety. It makes you full for longer. So the higher you can eat, the higher protein in a meal, the more full you are for longer, the more you're able to stay in class and learn. We have your carbohydrates, which is rice. Right now we're doing rice because we're waiting for the cost of maize to come down. And also we provide vegetables in the meals. I've had some kids say that when we provide carrots, it's the only, sometimes carrots are very expensive. It's the only time they're eating carrots, that vitamin A that's coming in through your carrots. We provide vegetables, onions, we kanga the onions on the side and the tomatoes so that they have flavor. And then we add it to the beans to make it tasty. So when you visit the school, which, as Silentoi mentioned, we're in 106 schools. If you visit all these schools across Nairobi, you ask the kids, how's the food? The first thing they say, it's sweet, meaning it's very tasty. So that's something that's also very important for us, for the kids to enjoy the food and to feel like it's nourishing them.
Let's take a break. We'll continue this conversation shortly at 8:30. Our guests this morning are Susan Silentoi. She is the County Executive Committee member in charge of health, wellness and nutrition at the Nairobi City County. And Wawera Njiru is the CEO of Food for Education, a social enterprise that's providing the central kitchens that are supporting the Nairobi school feeding program. We are seeking accountability for it. 1.7 billion shillings of Nairobi County's budget is going into this. A lot of money from people, well-wishers, is going into Food for Education. All of this is going to feed our children in schools. We want to know exactly what are they eating and what's the benefit for it. We'll be back shortly. Keep it here.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's critical that people pay taxes. But then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Luyas, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
With politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Cloudy conditions in Nairobi, a bit of sun peeking through those clouds, highs of 23 and lows of 16. It's cloudy at 17 in Nakuru with highs of 23, and we'll see highs of 24 in a sunny Nyeri at 16. Cloudy at 14 in Eldoret with highs of 20 and lows of 13. And we're looking into a cloudy Mombasa at 26 with highs of 33. We'll see sunny conditions in Malindi at 27, going to highs of 33. Kisumu, cloudy at 20, highs of 26, and highs of 26 in a cloudy Kakamega at 19. The rain continues in Kampala at 20 with highs of 28, and it's mostly cloudy in Dar es Salaam at 27 with highs of 31. We're looking into a cloudy Johannesburg at 13 with highs of 24. Mogadishu is 29 and sunny, highs of 33, and we'll see highs of 25 in a sunny Addis Ababa at 14. Hazy skies in Lagos at 24 with highs of 33, and it's sunny at 23 in Kinshasa with highs of 33.
spice up your life.
Still thick bumper-to-bumper traffic on the Thika Superhighway coming into the city. As you get to the junctions of Wangari Maathai and Muranga Road, it should be all right. But we're just seeing that heavy traffic before that. Still a little bit of it as you approach Muthaiga Square coming in from Kiambu Road. Out on Chiromo, heading out into the city, it's slow heading towards the junction there. Westlands traffic, Ring Road, Westlands, all of that very busy right about now. Still that little spot of traffic on the southern bypass, but it seems to be more or less ending now. Gong Road traffic getting into the city as well. We're still in traffic hour. Let's see what happens through the morning, but I think this is all manageable. We'll talk on SpiceFM, KE on X.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Susan Silantoi, the CCM for Health, Wellness and Nutrition, and the CEO for Food for Education, Wawe Ranjiro School Feeding Program. It's called Dishina County by the Nairobi City County Government. You've said it's in now, 106 plus 45 public schools?
No,
or is it a total? Total 106
yes.
Public schools.
Yeah.
Why public schools?
Well, we picked public schools because that is our first mandate, because those are the schools that are within the custody of the government, both local government and national government. But also there was a need. There was a very big need that we were meeting. So like I explained earlier about the feeding structure that was there before, even when the government was providing some sort of cash transfers to the schools, the kids would still pay about 60 to 100 shillings on average for something they call hot lunch. If you went to a public school, you probably know what hot lunch is. And in addition to that, they'd have to pay that cost in advance at the beginning of the term. So what we're giving is an alternative that you can pay. First of all, you pay 5 shillings, which is significantly lower.
Yeah.
And then you pay it as and when you can. So if it is a 5 bob that you have today, then you pay it today. If you have for a week, then you pay it for a week. And it's manageable for most parents. I think with the implementation we're doing last term, we saw just about 2% of the children were not able to pay. And we're finding ways to deal with those who are exceptionally in need. So we will cater for that as well. So no child will be turned away or left without food. But really the importance of it is, we can get lost in the numbers and the figures, but at the core of it, who is this child? Where are they from? And if they're hungry, can they actually study? So you can invest so much in education, but if you don't invest in this child, then is it counterproductive? So we're investing in the kid as well.
Historically, you said, Waziri, that the Ministry of Education was providing capitation money for school feeding. Is that money now coming into this program? Or is it still going to the schools?
Yeah.
A school feeding program from the Ministry of Education?
So ideally, we got into an intergovernmental partnership agreement with the Ministry of Education to be able to implement for primary schools, because ECD is under our mandate as a county government. And in that agreement, we were to cost share 50-50. So if I am spending 25 shillings, if the cost is 25 shillings, the national government would spend half of that, and I would spend half of it. So that is the agreement, and we're still in the process of trying to figure out the logistics of that. But I think it's important to note that this
agreement hasn't been firmed yet.
It was signed. We signed it in July last year.
It has been signed. It has not been operationalized.
We are in the process of operationalizing it. And
a meal you've already established costs 45 bob, right? So how much should, in your agreement, 50% of this 45 shillings should come from the national government?
Our agreement is we match it a shilling for the investment that is public funding. So if I am investing 25 shillings, if we're supposed to get 25 shillings of public money, then I invest a shilling, you invest a shilling. So that gives us a total of 25 for the public funding of that component.
Oh, so 12.5 now would come from Nairobi County and 12.5 from the national government.
Yeah, but I do have to say, this is one of the it's actually one of the new partnership agreements of any role that we've started to implement. I think the second one would be the one for the community health promoters, where the government is cost sharing the stipend for the community health promoters.
Yeah.
So I think it just takes a little bit of time for us to actually just get that operationalized fully as we learn, because it's a new one. So
I hear what you're saying, and I don't want really to get lost into this whole conversation about those, but I'm stuck at a point where the county government is coming back into the role should be performed by the national government, the same way we keep complaining. Governors have been complaining of the national government coming to perform roles that are devolved. Why is Nairobi going to feed children in primary school, and that's a purview of the national government?
Under the Ministry of Education?
Yeah. I think what we are doing is just meeting a need. And our governor always says that, the role of feeding children is actually a role of leadership. And so we're not taking away the responsibility of the Ministry of Education. We're just partnering to help them implement. And ideally, the reason for devolution is to provide service where it is needed. So if Nairobi is able to perform it, why not Nairobi do it together with you? If we are not able to perform it, then why not the national government do it? But devolution is not to leave a gap or a space that should not be met because there's rules or some sort of...
You put it very well, but the
operationalization.
But you see, it ends up looking like you're subsidizing the national government. Because when education is budgeted for, these things are budgeted for. It means money has been put aside for it. And it's a certain amount. Okay, now the county government comes in. I would assume the national government should continue with what they are supposed to do, which means the children will now receive more. Because I dare say, from what you've just told us, they're getting what you call a reasonable minimum. It's not extravagant, it's not lavish, it's enough. Now, if that money existed and the county government in their generosity determined that they want to assist, not subsidize, assist, then, hooray, the child who needed will have more. And is that not a good thing? But with the arithmetic you've just given us, I mean, the child doesn't benefit as much as they could, because this money is still budgeted for. There is nowhere in the government books where you'll find that money is reduced because the county government is now doing what the national government budgets for every single year.
That's true. But just to clarify, what the allocation for the national government for feeding, at least for Nairobi, it's actually not sufficient. The entity that is responsible for feeding in the national government is called NACONEC. That's a National Council for Nomadic Education in Kenya. And for the allocation that they had, at least for the last financial year, it will only cover 54 primary schools in Nairobi out of the 209 that we have. And in addition to that, they would not feed all the school days. We have 191 school days. So the funding that was available would only feed just about 60 school days. And so the difference is we are actually coming to supplement what is already there. So that's why they would still have to request for more money from the parents just to meet the need, because the funding is actually not enough. So if we cost share it, then I'm just meeting the need that you have not met. So I meet you halfway.
Mawera, you've been able to raise 15 bob, right? Why must you go to the parent? And you started talking about vulnerability and all. Why must you go to the parent for these 5 shillings?
I think, previously we've really made sure that parents have that ownership, because I think it's really about ownership. If you look at our other programs, we also subsidize them where there's no government contribution, but for less number of kids. So the government partnerships helps us, as the minister mentioned, Silantoi, is that it helps you reach more children, right? And so making it at 5 shillings, we wanted to make it at the lowest cost possible for the parent. That's one. And then also accounting for children who can't afford. So in Nairobi, we actually started the process of registering about 25,000 children, which is about 10% of the population, who won't be paying the 5 shillings. So these children are being identified by their teachers, by their communities in each school to make sure that, if you don't have 5 shillings, you're able to have a meal still. So we're in the process of doing the registration in the 106 schools, and that will be across all the schools. So there's one piece around making sure that the most vulnerable are catered for, but also that community ownership. A parent feels proud when they contribute. Everyone feels proud when they do something for their child. And the fact that we're able to meet them, I've spent a lot of time this week with parents asking them, is this valuable to you? Is this something that you're seeing? We have a customer care center where parents also call in. And a lot of them are finding a lot of value in a meal being provided at 5 shillings. And it's not a bare minimum meal. It's actually a very high quality meal because it's a meal that enables a child to learn. It's a meal that, if you were to get somewhere else, you wouldn't get it, obviously, at the cost. I ask kids sometimes, if this is compared to the home food that you eat, they'll say it's better. We've done studies of the nutritional composition of the meal at school versus the one at home. Because of especially tightening budgets, the meal at school is more nutritious. So it's not a bare minimum meal. It's a very high quality meal because we believe our kids deserve the best. Yeah.
In terms of sustenance of this program, I think that's one of the things that we hear. Something great begins. And because, look, urban poverty is a thing. And for children to have a meal at school, the benefits are untold in terms of the burden that is then lifted from the home setting. And here we're talking about policy issues, not political, but policy issues in terms of longevity and sustenance of the program. If we look at other jurisdictions, it's a given that things will happen. You don't even have to question. You know that there's a stipend that children will get when the school term starts. You know that school lunch is provided. It's not a question of in 2026, will it be there? It's not. It has been entrenched. So I guess that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
How do we know that something is not going to come up tomorrow and then we'll start looking for Silantoi? People ate the money now for school lunch. We don't even know if half the money was used. We don't know.
I think that's a very valid concern. We're doing our best as Nairobi County to actually institutionalize this as the school feeding component of it. So there's an entire subsector that is just responsible for school feeding and just making sure that kids actually eat, and that process is validly in law. To solidify that space. Secondly, we did the paperwork with the Ministry of Education, the partnership agreement. There's renewal clauses. Of course, we can review and see does this actually work after a couple of years, and learn lessons and pick it up and then implement it further as per the lessons that we have picked up. But then third, also we've set up a school feeding fund. Through the county assembly. Currently, our regulations are in the assembly that will just allow us to first establish a board of people who are external from the county, who will be able to just look into all the funding that we have and just ensure that we're actually accountable for each of the shillings that we're given by public. And then, of course, we will also have, they'll help us just think through, okay, so how best can we implement this program? But the more significant reason for institutionalizing this is also, so that there's also a government allocation for it. And it is not at the whims of whoever is in power at the time. It is actually part of the law and part of the structures that exist. So that is what the steps that we're taking in terms of just sustainability to ensure that it is always funded. And I think a lot of people frown upon government allocations for specific things like subsidies.
Yes.
But the world over, school feeding programs are actually extremely well funded by governments without any apologies. And not just for the benefit of the children, but school feeding actually has a ripple effect on the economy. It helps with food systems and supply chains, the farmers, the people in the entire spectrum of that school feeding program are actually quite a number. Currently, we're employing about 1,500 people on the program to feed 184,000 kids. By the time we've implemented to scope, we'll have employed about 2,500 people. So not only are people getting jobs, not only are the children getting fed, not only are the farmers producing the food that we are actually supplying to these children. I mean, it's an entire ecosystem. So it has benefits for everybody. And so we will not shy away as a government to allocate this kind of money to school feeding.
If we appear skeptical, it is with good reason. We have witnessed very many well-intentioned programs begin with a lot of pomp and ceremony and a lot of hope. And then somewhere along the line, things don't quite work out as was intended. What you're doing is laudable. It is excellent. It is wonderful. And indeed, you are meeting a need. Now, you talk about sustainability and putting it in law. What else are you doing to ensure that there'll be sufficient funds? Because we have this situation in this country, we have a growing population, it isn't diminishing. So these children from 186,000 will increase. There'll be more. What are you doing?
We are actually increasing our revenue. If you look at the drive that we're currently having in Nairobi, we've just introduced the Unified Business Permit, which allows you to pay one license to the county, and then it compiles everything, and then sisi tunagawanya pesa yetu kundani, so that you don't have to go to every office and pay for the fire license, for the food hygiene license, for the single business permit. You pay it once, and you have one-stop shop. And we've established a customer care center in Nairobi County. I think it's the first one done by any county. So we're increasing our revenues through that. We're making sure that we're not policing, we're just enhancing compliance. We're making it easier for you to comply and actually pay your taxes. And we will use your taxes for good things like school feeding. So we're making sure that we raise our revenues quite a bit. I think this financial year, our target is about 20 billion. So we're looking to see how...
are you doing now? It's 6 months. I mean, is it 6 months into the new year?
Yeah.
How are you doing in that target of 20 billion shillings, bearing in mind that in the last financial year, how much did you raise? 9? 9,
yes. I don't actually have the figures at the moment, but this is our high revenue season between January, February and March, whereby a lot of people are paying their land rates, people are renewing their business licenses. So I can find out for you and just let you know, but we're doing quite well, actually.
You know, this isn't your docket, but the question to whoever's docket it is in the county government, I hope they're listening. Yes, 20 billion sounds like a good figure, but against what? How do we know what the potential of Nairobi County is? Do you know what the potential is? Do you know how much revenue you can actually collect?
Yeah, I think there have been estimates that we could do almost 60 billion if we just unlock ways that people can be efficient in how they pay their taxes.
Again, this isn't your docket, but what makes you think 60 billion isn't collected and that you only receive 20?
I mean...
It isn't your docket. I'm really speaking as a citizen who lives in Nairobi.
You're thinking out loud.
I'm just thinking out loud.
I'm not refusing. It could be possible. But in addition to just making sure that our processes are efficient, we're reducing human interaction with money. So there's no service that you pay for in Nairobi that you pay using cash. If you pay something with cash, yo umempatia, yo ni yake. We pay all our services through *647#. And I think we're getting into that drive currently.
*647#.
Yes.
And there's only one *647#.
Only one. And you will get all your services there.
There's something about how to ensure sustainability of this, and also that you increase the sources of fund into this. So you've said right now before the county assembly is the regulation that would establish the fund. Does it allow for other sources of money to get into this fund apart from the county budget?
Oh, absolutely. That's the fund that we will use to administer all our donor funding. It's a fund you as Eric can adopt a child. For less than 1,000 shillings, you can pay for a child for an entire year. So we will, yeah.
Actually, 955.
955. Yeah. So we will come to you with that once my regulations are ready. There's lots of good intentioned Kenyans out there who just want to support, and we see that even in schools already. There in some schools you'd find one parent is able to pay more than 5 shillings, and so they'd pay another 5 shillings for the other child. So that is a fund that we will use to do that, but we will do it in utmost transparency. I know a lot of people have very many suspicions with government, but we will have enough eyes on it just to make sure that your money is accounted for.
The importance of school feeding. Sorry, I'm coming to you, where you can say what you want to. So before you lose track of what you wanted to say, then I'll ask you a question.
I think, the question around Kenya and public spending, I think the benefit of lessons across different countries shows us the benefits of school feeding programs. If you look at India, for example, they feed 100 million children, right? And they've done that for years. And that has been significant public spending instituted by the Indian government through their constitution. So they had a constitution change, and they made sure they call it a midday meal program, where 100 million children get meals every single day. They work with non-profits like us in India. One of the largest non-profits provides meals for 2 million children, and that has had benefits. And they've done it long enough to see even intergenerational benefits, where the children who are fed now are parents, and there are benefits for that meal that they're able to pass on to their kids because of the level of nutrition that they attain in school. So, countries like India, where they're ahead of us in terms of growth in economies, and it's important for us to take best practice. What is economies around the world who are growing? Brazil, BRICS countries. Brazil also implementing country-wide school feeding programs that have had effects, important benefits for their kids who are now adults. So it's important for Kenya, if we're adding BRICS as a K next to the BRIC countries, it's important for us to take best practice investment in human capital, like school feeding programs, and scale and make sure that they're reaching the most vulnerable kids.
Talk about the impacts on the child and school attendance. Has it had any?
Huge impact on school attendance. So first of all, you find that kids want to come to school. They want to stay in school. We have increased enrollment, 30%, sometimes doubling of the school population. We've had a school where it was about, I think, when we started, 600 kids. Now it's about 1,200 kids.
Give us a case study, a practical one.
Gatina Primary School has grown in population significantly since we started.
In
Dagoretti North.
Yes. We have schools across Nairobi that are experiencing increase in population already. Teachers are saying to us now, it's really a big even opportunity for them to have more classrooms, to have more facilities for the children. And I think the government is looking into that as well from the announcement that the president made at the Ednah County Lounge in June last year. But seeing kids increase in school, in school, but also seeing them being able to learn. If you go to a school, and I'd encourage, Nairobians who want to learn more about Ednah County, there's a public school somewhere near you. Go say hi to the head teacher. If the school is already enrolled, if the school is scaling soon, see what the Ednah County program is, because it's happening every single day. So it's not something you have to be told so much. All of us can visit a school and see what is happening in the schools, even taste the food, see the quality of the food.
I mean, I'm sure it would be a logistical nightmare. But we're seeing all these children in all these schools getting their meals at the same time every day?
Yes.
Okay.
How?
That was my next question.
We have a team that is so incredible that they work all night. And by morning, the food is ready. By 7 a.m., 8 a.m., we have this containers that we've designed that are able to keep the food hot. There are route mapping that has been done for each distribution path. So we make sure that the last school is getting food around 12. The food is kept securely. It's not being tampered with. It's sealed. When it's open, temperature check is done. If it's below a certain level, if something has happened, let's say it's a cold day, the food is not served. If the food is at the right level, the food is served to the kids. So our team is incredible at making sure that the food leaves on time. We cook overnight. If you visit a kitchen, you can also ask the women what time they came in. They cook overnight to make sure that at lunchtime, every single child, even at Olympic Primary, which is the biggest school in Nairobi with 5,000 children, each of those children are being served every single day by 12, and by 1:30 they go back to class. So in less than an hour, we're able to serve up to 5,000 children and make sure that they eat.
Where? Okay.
I would just like to address that issue of the school and retention in school. In fact, there are places like in Kayole where the schools have had to build mabati classrooms just to accommodate for the kind of influx in children that they're having. And I know there's a lot of naysayers saying that we should not have allocated this budget to feeding. Maybe we should have constructed the classes, or I mean, all those things can happen concurrently. Why should the children remain hungry while I collect the garbage? Can I do that? Can I do both of them at the same time? But in addition to that, we've gotten into a program with the national government to do 5,000 classrooms in the next 3 years. So we will do 1,500 classrooms for ECD. They will do 3,000 classrooms for primary, just to meet that need in Nairobi.
You do your ECD. Those guys. It's okay. Susan Silantori is the CCM for Health, Wellness and Nutrition in Nairobi City County. Wawera Njiru is the CEO of Food for Education. We'll be talking about the school feeding program in Nairobi, Dishina County. Keep it here for more, 9 a.m. Good morning.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. The Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi, is attending the 19th Non-Aligned Movement Summit that started Monday in Uganda. The 19th Non-Aligned Movement Summit, under the theme Deepening Cooperation for Shared Global Affluence, will provide a unique opportunity for member states to take stock of major global affairs. The NAM Summit is held every few years, usually in a different continent. The last meeting was held in Baku, Azerbaijan last year, with the theme upholding the Bandung principles to ensure concerted and adequate response to the challenges of the contemporary world. Now, Embakasi East MP Babu Owino has welcomed the Court of Appeal decision regarding the disputed Kirima land, whose occupants face possible eviction following an earlier court order. Taken to social media to air his sentiments, Owino said the decision is good for both parties, but vowed to ensure no one is evicted from the land that touches both his Embakasi East and Kasarani constituencies. The MP said that he would make sure he fights for the residents and warned the Kirimas that he would fight until the end to ensure that they don't evict the residents of the area. His reaction came after Court of Appeal Judge Mohamed Warsame urged parties in the case to try and resolve the matter out of court. The court asked the parties to negotiate the matter and live together in peace. Now, the Competition Authority of Kenya has approved Heri Holdings Limited's acquisition of 100% shareholding of Nova Academy's Tatu City Property Limited. Heri Holdings is a private investment and management company that owns, finances, develops and leases hospitality and commercial office real estate in Kenya. Nova Academies, on the other hand, is a private limited liability company that leases the properties to the private school operator Nova Pioneer Kenya Limited. The competition regulator says it had found that the transaction is unlikely to negatively impact competition in the market for commercial property nor elicit negative public interest concerns. And detectives from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission have arrested 5 suspects linked to the 58.6 million shillings procurement scandal in Isiolo County. The 5 are among a group of 13 suspects being probed by the anti-agency in connection to the scandal involving the illegal awarding of 58,560,000 tender to Dresco Limited for the supply and delivery of a fire engine to Isiolo County in the financial year 2018-2019. The suspects will be arraigned in court today are former Chief Officer Finance, former Chief Officer Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, former Head of Treasury and 2 accountants. Now, a 1.5-year-old baby was burnt beyond recognition after his grandmother's house caught fire at Murumba village, Uhunyi sub-location in Ugunja sub-county. According to Siaya County Police Commander Cleti Kimayo, baby Jaden Otieno was sleeping in the sitting room when the house caught fire. He said that preliminary investigations have established that a passerby, namely Leonida Atieno, saw smoke emanating from the house of the 93-year-old grandmother, Clemenito Oundo, and raised the alarm. And the police have launched investigations after the naked body of a middle-aged woman was found dumped at the Guakairu area in Juja, Kiambu County. Juja Sub-County Police Commander Michael Moura says detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations based in Juja have visited the scene. The body had visible physical injuries and bruises on the face, and that the surrounding area showed sign of struggle. Leaves of mogoka, a variety of cat, also known as jaba, as well as some groundnuts were also found at the scene. The police boss added that the deceased is yet to be identified, while the body has been taken to General Cargo Funeral Home in Thika Sub-County for postmortem as investigations commence. And police in Game Yala Sub-County in Siaya County are investigating the murder of a 14-year-old boy reported to have been attacked by a neighbor and hit with a blunt object on the head. Barack Obama Otieno is reported to have been attacked by a neighbor identified as Charles Ouma Otur following a disagreement, hitting him on the head and leaving him for the dead. He was rushed to Yala Sub-County Hospital where he succumbed to the injuries while undergoing treatment. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, traffic on the Thika Superhighway just fizzling out a little bit as you get towards the city. Same thing on Kiambu Road, so we're looking at that, looking a lot easier to get through. Also into the CBD coming from Gong Road, looks a lot better now. And we're looking at no traffic on Mombasa Road as you head into the city. We're coming out of traffic hour in no time now. Thursday morning has not been too tumultuous. Keeping an eye on things through the morning still. Let us know. Spice FM, KE on X.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room.
Remember,
the only way to start your day.
Taxi app on your phone and start using it. And as soon as you start using it, number one, load some money onto the Maramoja taxi wallet and you will get 50% bonus. Number two, hail a taxi using Maramoja taxi. And if you use the code SPICE30, you will get a 30% discount on that ride. SPICE30, get a 30% discount. It is as easy as 1, 2, 3, ABC, all those things put together. Do, re, mi, what else?
Just leave it like that.
A-E, what else? UDA.
Well done. Every day,
now you have
continue to impress me.
Get it?
Day.
Cindy, oh? Yeah. The Secretary General of UDA. What's UDA? United Democratic
Alliance Party.
Alliance Party.
Yeah.
It doesn't have of Kenya?
No.
Okay. There's no Kenya anywhere in UDA.
No.
Is there any other UDA anywhere else?
Kenya United Democratic.
Okay.
This is not for Kenya.
It's not for Kenya.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Karibu sana, Clear for Malala.
Asante sana.
Secretary General. How you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too.
Uko salama?
Glad to see you. Yeah.
Good to see you as well.
Asante.
Let me tell you about school fees. I know, as a politician, you have to deal a lot with supporting people who are taking children to school.
Yeah.
There's something that Kiwi is doing that can also help you in that journey.
In this quest. So, school fees comes with supplies and all these things that you have to buy every term, coming into a new year, etc. And, you have to look a certain way, shoes are polished, all that. So you have to do your shopping anyway for school. So Kiwi is saying, okay, so we can help with that, but how about we also help with school fees? So what you do is you walk into any store where you can find this Kiwi, but it has to be the one with the new label, logo, right? And then under the lid, you'll find a code, which you will put in when you dial *459 *5#, right?
Yeah.
And you get airtime and data instantly. The beauty of it is, though, that you also enter into a draw. 35,000 shillings is being given to 4 people every week, and it goes directly to school fees. So you can buy a bunch of Kiwi, do the thing, and you never know.
Oh.
Because of that, somebody can go to school.
That's good.
And it goes directly to school.
What of us who will use Kiwi and we don't have people to pay school fees for?
You can sponsor somebody else.
Oh, there's always somebody who can sponsor.
There are many, many people. Even today, we know that there's some children who will miss going to Form 1 because of school fees.
It's awesome. I wish all the products will do this during opening days, because I'm very sure many parents are straining to get their children to school.
Very true.
These are hard economic times.
Yeah.
And if corporate organizations can come out with such initiatives to help our people get their students to school, I think it's a good thing.
To welcome you to the conversation, the proverb. This week, the proverbs are from Nigeria. So listen keenly. City is going to speak Pidgin. And then your job will be to translate from Pidgin to English and then interpret it. So,
hi.
City go.
Okay, one day, breeze go blow and foul nyash go open.
Say again.
One day, breeze go blow and foul nyash go open.
Do.
Yes.
Say it now more fluently in proper Pidgin English.
One day, breeze go blow and foul nyash go open.
Open.
Wow, that's quite technical, but I'll try and give it.
Give it a try.
According to me, that one day the universe and all factors in the universe will burst out and open up to the universe to have.
Don't overthink it. You're doing okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying. One day, the universe will open up and will expose the details and the good things plus the bad things of the universe to the world. So that is it, just opening up of the universe and knowing exactly what it entails.
Spot on.
It's true.
Spot on.
Well, nothing can remain hidden forever, really.
Yes.
Yes.
One day it will come to light.
It will be exposed.
Yes.
Itajulikana.
Yes. Now that is that breeze.
Yeah. For example, this is the day that we want to know what happened to the UDA national elections last year.
Good enough. You all know that we had announced our elections to be on 9th of December last year. And we had a conversation with different organs of our party. Remember, we had the Women Congress being held at Bomas of Kenya. We had the National Governing Council. And as a party, we engaged with so many other stakeholders. After thorough engagement and consultation with our people, we realized that we have a lot of people who have shown interest to join our party. We have our affiliate Kenya Kwanza members who had shown interest to join our party. And we didn't want to do elections and then close out everybody who had shown interest to join our party. And therefore we said, let us extend the period to April to allow members from other political parties who are willing to join the UDA party to join, so that we can have one election once and for all. You've seen now we've been receiving people from other political parties. Just the other day, we received the Secretary General of the United Democratic Movement, the UDM party, the Honorable Okoh Halake, who defected from the UDM party to come to the UDA party. And this just to give our sister parties within Kenya Kwanza the membership of the sister parties who we are talking to come and join and make our party strong, that there is space in UDA. In party, UDA. That you can come from whichever party you're coming from, be a member of UDA, and be an official of UDA. So we didn't want to close up everybody by doing the elections.
The elections then.
Yes. So these are grassroots elections, and they will be done only after every 5 years.
Bwana SG, no. I've just heard you say that you extended this so that you can give time to raid the other political parties in a Kenya Kwanza alliance and grab their members
and any other party, not necessarily within Kenya Kwanza.
Why would you be doing this to your sister parties in Kenya Kwanza? Why do you want to go and take their members?
No. You see, the aspirations of any political parties to grow its membership, and political competition is that you persuade members of other parties to come and join your party. One, because when you're moving members, if you want your party to grow, you cannot get members from Mars or Jupiter. You just get members from Kenya who belong to other parties. Like if you belong to ODM party, I'll persuade you and ask you, come on, is it possible, Eric, for you to come to my party?
Okay.
And that is why the Register of Political Parties has ensured that before you join a party, you must resign from your previous
party.
Yeah. So basically, what we are doing is to build one strong national party.
Okay. And what are your tools of persuasion?
Of course, our ideologies. We've got an ideology that we sell to our members. You've seen us. We are the first political party in Kenya to have a concrete manifesto, to campaign on the platform of an agenda. We have the plan that we promised Kenyans, and now that we are in power, we are focusing in ensuring that we implement what we focus on.
You're the first party to have an agenda.
Yes. In the other elections...
Manala, you are a senator from another political party.
Yes, and
are you saying that party didn't have an agenda, have a manifesto?
We used to stand on top of political platforms and say, Tibim, Tialala.
So you were lying to Kenyans at that time?
What is Tibim?
You tell us. You are the ones who
what is Tialala? That's why I'm saying.
But there was a manifesto.
In 2022, these were the first time in Kenya that campaigns were held on the basis of an agenda. You remember, the UDA party had an agenda, and the Azimio party also had a counter agenda. So for the first time in the history of Kenya, Kenyans were speaking issues. For the first time in the history of Kenya, we did not have tribal cocoons. We had all the tribes in the United Democratic Alliance and in the Kenya Kwanza coalition. Yeah. And we had all the tribes in Kenya in Azimio. So to me, I want to say that it was a moment that we need to celebrate. It was a moment that we need to cheer ourselves. That, come on, we are now going away from the tribal approach to politics. It's now an issue-based politics. And that's why we need to grow national parties. We need to discourage the emergence of tribal parties. We need to have parties who have a national outlook, and that is why I am determined as the Secretary General of the United Democratic Alliance to ensure that we bring every person who is willing to have or to be part of this journey to build a national party for us and for the coming generations.
Building on the question that Ndu has asked, what are your tools of persuasion? So in this next 3 months, what are you doing? Are you reaching out? Are you holding barazas? Are you telling people this is our agenda? That's why we are a good party and you need to come and join our party. Are you hosting breakfast meetings? Are you giving chai? What are you doing to persuade people to leave their party, or those that are not members of any political party, to decide to join your party?
First of all, we have an aggressive grassroots sensitization program. We go to our respective branches and mobilize people at grassroots level. We have our agents and we have our coordinators all the way to every polling center in this Republic of Kenya. We are organized up to the polling center level. We have our people who walk around disseminating information about our party, what we believe in as a party, and what we are doing, and especially that we are the ruling party. We are disseminating information of what the government is doing to ensure that we implement what we had promised people. And therefore, through the dissemination of information, we are able now to persuade members and tell them, come and join this ship, because we are sailing toward the right direction. We are trying to salvage the nation from where it was when we took up government. And you've seen what we've done for a very short period of time. We have tried to get Kenyans from a point whereby we had high cost of prices when it comes to food stuff. We've tried in a period of around 1.5 years, we've tried to reduce the cost of food stuff. Now we can pride. We found unga, 2 kgs unga, costing at around 250 shillings, 260 shillings. Now it's ranging between 136 to 150 shillings. And we want it even to go lower. Cooking oil has gone down. Gas has gone down. And therefore we are saying that we want to ensure that we bring down the cost of living through practical ways and not just simple rhetorics.
You know, sometimes I marvel at how the lengths to which political parties will go to sell their agenda, because everything you say is actually true in terms of prices going down. It's true. There's a little problem though. Even when the price of food stuff goes down and the unemployment in the country keeps rising, it means that not just disposable cash, money that people can need to be able to attend to their affairs is significantly reduced. Even those reduced prices will not help them much because they actually can't afford. When you don't have money, even if the price is low, you still will not be able to afford it. So the question that arises is, how do we ensure that the industries, the businesses, the commercial sectors that exist and who have been responsible for employing people not only maintain the members of staff that they have or the people in employment, but that they increase the number of people? Meaning, what is it that is being done to inject a lot of activity into the economy so that the very things that we are saying in terms of employment, in terms of job opportunities go up, unemployment goes down? What is being done?
As city, our president also doubles up as our party leader, is very deliberate in ensuring first that he offers employment to the young people of Kenya. And he has done several, or he has rather initiated several economic stimulus projects. One, the housing project. You've seen after we rolled out the housing, affordable housing project, we've been able to bring on board several number of young people just to come and get their daily earnings out of the housing project. That is one. Second, when you look at the Finance Act of 2023-2024, we were able to put some mitigation to ensure that we cushion local industries. One, we were able to ensure that we increase taxes on certain commodities that will ensure that we cushion local manufacturing industries. You saw very well that we were able to increase taxes on importation of cement, taxes on importation of steel, taxes on importation of furniture, and generally luxury goods. So that things that we can produce in Kenya, we ensure that we increase the taxes so that we discourage importation of such goods. This was an initiative aimed at ensuring that we cushion our local industries so that we are able to ensure that we provide employment opportunities for our people and even cushion the few employment opportunities that we have at the moment. So our government is very, very deliberate in ensuring that we provide employment for our people. You've seen the president doing robust diplomatic shuttle across countries and having programs with countries like Saudi Arabia, wanting to ensure that we get our people, our human resource that we enjoy as a country, be exported so that we can even increase our foreign remittance to the country. And therefore, the president is very deliberate in terms of ensuring that we get jobs for our young people. Look at the idea of having ICT hubs in every ward. All the 1,450 wards in this republic. Just access to internet would help our young people access online jobs. And therefore, this country is very deliberate. And of course, we are working with the private sector because government cannot offer 100% of employment. And therefore, we want to ensure that we cushion even the private sector so that the private sector can continue offering such opportunities to our people.
You know, it's expected that the organs of a political party would then help to hold the elected leaders under that party to account and make sure that, for example, you as a ruling party are following up with the government to see that what you promised the people is being implemented and that even the leaders are living to the ideals of what the party stands for. Tell me what your party organs have done in the last 1 year of Kenya Kwan's administration to make sure that these things that you promised, the things that are contained in your manifesto, the blood and veins of UDA is still being adhered to.
Eric, you remember last year when I was here, there was a question as to why the president used his wisdom to allow the Secretary General of the ruling party to sit in cabinet.
Yes.
The reason was so that we can use the party to monitor and evaluate how our plan, that is our manifesto, is being implemented by the executive. And to that extent, we as a party, we have developed a monitoring matrix. We even have a system whereby we uploaded our manifesto in that system, and we have generated in shreds. We've been able to generate, out of our plan, we have 172 promises that we made to Kenyans. And we can be able to track all the promises per department in government. We have a quarterly meeting with all the cabinet secretaries. And we have been able to coordinate that through the Office of the Head of Public Service to ensure that we monitor, we put to task the members of the executive on the implementation of our promises.
Who sits in these meetings?
I sit in that meeting.
Who else?
All the cabinet secretaries sit in that meeting. The head of public service sits in that meeting. The government spokesperson sits in that meeting. The president and the deputy president sit in that meeting, including the prime cabinet secretary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there no other members of the party?
Of course.
So the hierarchy of the party, because everybody else that you've talked about is the person who's supposed to be implementing. Even the president should be answering to the party on what he's doing to ensure that these 172 promises are being met, are being kept. And I'd expect that some organ of the party that brings in, whether they've been appointed by the National Executive Council or the Governing Council or whatever, even if it's a delegate, that there's some team that comes back to answer to the organs of the party. We asked them, this is what they said. We have told them that this is what they need to do. But you can't just be Cleopa Malala, the Secretary General.
Not really. If you read our constitution is very clear that the Secretary General will conduct business on behalf of the National Executive Council. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly what I'm doing. I report back to the National Executive Council. But that's said and done. You remember in our last National Governing Council, when the President was asked to address the National Governing Council in Bomas of Kenya, he took 1 hour, 15 minutes reporting back to the National Governing Council, one of the highest ranking organs of the party. He reported back what he had done. Remember, he reported back what he had done about the agriculture sector, what he had done about the universal health coverage, what he had done about the housing plan, what he had done about the Hustlers Fund. That was a platform whereby the president reports back to the highest organ of the party, the National Governing Council.
So it's the NGC that then is making sure that this 172 promises that the party made to the people, that convinced the people to vote for the party's candidates, are being met.
Not really.
Did the NGC ask the president questions, or was it an address from the party leader to the National Governing Council on what he has done, and no questions asked, he walks out?
No, that was just an address. But for us, I told you, we have a monitoring matrix. A matrix that informs the president. Come on, the president, so far you've implemented, out of the 172, you've implemented this percentage of promises. And therefore, it gives him an opportunity to also make, it's a decision-making tool for him to ensure that he delivers on the promises that he made. And he has been able to use that tool effectively because there are certain things that he has been behind schedule. And we've been telling him, come on, you promised this number of jobs. Like, for example, he promised to fill in the gap for 116,000 jobs for the teachers. So far, by the end of the first year, he was supposed to have done half of that number, but he had not done that. The party reminded him that, come on, you've not achieved the 56,000 mark. He ensured by the close of business last year, the president had employed 56,000 new teachers through the TSC. And therefore, the party, through the monitoring matrix. And that is why we've even introduced a directorate. And we have a liaison director to liaise on executive affairs in the party to ensure specifically that we are monitoring all the 172 promises.
Sorry, before we go to the break, sounds to me that what you're doing is what the head of public service does as a department, is what the Ministry of Public Service, Moses Kuria, is doing, making sure that work is being done, is what the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, also as a department, is doing to ensure that work is being done. It just sounds like very many people who are just
doing the same thing,
whose job is to tick, to put green, to put red, to put yellow against a board. But who is holding the party officials accountable?
No, Eric, you must also appreciate that the party, we are not monitoring the entire operations of the government. The government delivery unit is the one mandated to monitor the delivery of government functions. We, as a party, we are only monitoring the political promises that we made to the people, because we are the ones who are going to be politically accountable to the people. The traditional civil servants will not face the electorate in 2027. But as a party, we are the ones who are going to be in contact with the electorate in 2027. Therefore, our focal attention is basically to the 172 promises we made during campaign. And therefore, I do not extend my mandate beyond the 172 promises.
Okay.
Like, for example, in our manifesto, we didn't promise that we will maybe give out polio vaccine, and therefore I will not, as a Secretary General, go to ensure that polio vaccine has been given to all the children. I will only concentrate on matters that we promise the people: the Hustler Fund, the affordable housing,
free Wi-Fi,
free gas.
Not free gas, come on. But I will only focus on the issues that we promise people, and therefore my mandate and the mandate of the party is limited to the 172 promises as encapsulated in our manifesto.
Let's take a break. 27 minutes to 10. Cleophas Malala is the Secretary General of UDA. He's here. We are talking about UDA and the party, and also looking at what they have been doing so far. It's that season for political party activity. We are seeing a lot of it. UDA has been busy recruiting members. ODM is recruiting members. The Wiper Party had its NEC the other day. They're also launching their party recruitment. NARC Kenya has been recruiting members. All of them. Even Safina, Jimmy Wanjege, they have also been recruiting members. All political parties seem to be very active this year. Why? We'll be answering that question shortly.
Because
this is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Patrick Lodge, Otieno Lumumba, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
CT Muga.
CT Lodge.
Muga.
Muga, not Muga.
He's here, and here's the day's proverb.
One man marries a woman, another man marries trouble.
Is he the same man?
Spice.
A lion cannot eat more than 2 donkeys. It would die a natural death because there is no ICU in the forest. In Kenya, it has become the situation that you cannot conduct 2 elections. In fact,
with the same IEBC.
You can't.
I tell you about this Indian friend of mine who was enjoying other Indians in the group. He wrote the word valve and told them, read it.
So how did he say it? I really want to know.
The valve. Kina Ednah, it's the, like you said, the bees and the peas. Kila kitu mkisia kisema atasema opposite.
Opposite?
Ukisema hii anasema opposite.
Opposite.
Ukisikiliza namna hii unasikia opposite.
The Situation Room, Spice, the only way to start your day.
Okay, so let's look at coming to the tail end of traffic hour this morning. Just a little bit of it left on coming into most parts of the city today. From Globe Cinema, we saw that traffic just there at the Nyeri National Stadium Junction also, and on the Thika Superhighway just around Survey is where there's a bumper-to-bumper situation. Everything else seems to be flowing freely and smoothly. We shouldn't have an issue this Thursday. Let's talk through the day, whenever, if necessary. SpiceFM KE on X.
Business News with Spice FM.
I'm Dennis Aseto. Commercial farms will have to pay 850,000 shillings to place genetically modified organisms in the market if a new proposal is passed. The National Biosafety Authority says that the new rates will also apply for those renewing environmental approvals after the expiration of 10 years. The authority has invited members of the public to submit their recommendations on the new fees. The ICT Authority has rolled out a digital training program to support the Citizen Digital Skills Program. The 5-day training of trainers will see trainers taught foundational digital skills, basic digital skills, intermediate digital skills, and advanced digital skills. Zilpa Owiti, ICT Authority's Director, Partnerships, Innovations and Capacity Development, lauded the program as a gateway for equipping a workforce capable of navigating its complexities. The East Africa Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture has secured 4 billion shillings to offer financial literacy programs to small and micro enterprises in East Africa under a deal with the European Business Institute in Luxembourg. It targets 28,000 small businesses. It will apply to countries in the East African community including Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Zanzibar and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Others are Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, Zambia and Somalia. Hemingway's has released its travel trends for 2023, which points to customers embracing sustainability, technology, work-life integration, well-being and culinary adventures. Hemingway's travel managing director Joseph Kithito said that travelers last year were conscious of their choices. He said that demand for eco-friendly travel is not just a trend but a paradigm shift that necessitates a commitment to responsible tourism. Airtel Kenya and Telkom are the two least performing networks in Kenya, according to the Communications Authority of Kenya. The latest CA report on quality of service performance for the 2022-2023 financial year measured operators on parameters such as network performance, quality of service, quality of experience, and end-to-end quality of service. Overall, Telkom performed badly with 65%, followed by Airtel at 79%. Safaricom, however, was number one at 90%. Digital payment platform Visa has inked a deal with PesaFlow, a fintech offering digital payments to streamline and enhance digital payments in government. PesaFlow plans to leverage Visa's wide reach and security infrastructure to deliver improved public sector services for citizens. The partners say the deal focuses on creating seamless, user-friendly digital payment platforms, integrating virtual and digital cards, and providing secure gateway services. For Spice Business, I'm Dennis Aseto.
Spice FM Business. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
Cleophas Malala, the UDA Secretary General, is still here with us in the studio as we have continue our conversation. Please remember, download Maramoja Taxi app, and then you can load any amount onto the Maramoja Taxi wallet. You will get 50% discount, pap hapo hapo, or papo hapo. And then the next time you're using Maramoja Taxi to hail a taxi, use the code SPICE30. You will get a 30% discount on that ride, and the driver will still receive what they're supposed to receive. So, Mheshimiwa SG, as we continue with our conversation, one of the things that you said is you hold those who've been elected through your party to account for their actions, for the delivery of the promises that they made. One of those promises, which was not maybe written down, I don't know whether it was, maybe it's one of the 172, is upholding the rule of law. Okay? One of the things that you were campaigning on as you were going around the country is saying, look, this regime, these people who are in office are not obeying court orders. These people who are in office are, doing things the wrong way. They are not even, wanatesa Mzee Maraga, not even listening to him. We shall do things different. The president, when he was sworn in, he said one of the things that he's going to do is obey the rule of law, follow the law. The president has recently said, those court orders, I'm going to challenge them. I don't have to follow them. That is going against. Have you heard that? Is the party reminding the president about his constitutional obligation?
It must be very clear that when the president was in Nyandarua County, he invited the nation to a national conversation about decisions made by the judiciary which are inhibiting development projects in Kenya. If I can recall, the president did not use the word that he will defy court orders. He only called out for judicial tyranny and judicial impunity, whereby, in as much as the judiciary is independent, but it is there to serve the people of Kenya. The president, just like any other Kenyan, has the right to express his dissatisfaction on how the judiciary is performing. Remember, the former CJ said that the issue of corruption in the judiciary is a matter that needs to be addressed. The former CJ Maraga, when he was handing over to Koome, also said that this issue of judicial corruption must be addressed. Severally, we've had CJ Koome, Martha Koome, addressing the same issue. The former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, called out the judiciary and complained about certain decisions of the courts. The leader of opposition, Raila Odinga, has been on the forefront castigating the judiciary So what is wrong with the president who has been mandated by Kenyans through Article 1, through a competitive election, just saying that, come on, he is dissatisfied with certain orders of the court that are inhibiting development? And you've seen orders coming, orders that do not have the interest of the people at heart. One, for example, who is this judge that gives an order that you suspend an health insurance cover, knowing that 4 million students are opening school now without NHIF, just because there's an order? So who will treat these children? Will that order treat the children when they fall sick? Just a moment.
Did the order stop NHIF from operating?
They suspended the implementation of the new scheme. That is one.
NHIF is still in operation.
No. When you go to the hospital, they're not. NHIF is not operational.
Why is it not in operation?
Because there's an order in court suspending the implementation of the new law.
But that does not prohibit NHIF as it was previously operationalized.
I can tell you,
at
the moment, hospitals are not using the NHIF card.
Why?
Second,
not because of a court order.
Just a moment. Second, who is this judge that gives an order that, come on, stop all development projects when it comes to the housing, the affordable housing program? The hundreds and thousands of youth who are getting employment out of the affordable housing project, who will pay their rent? So let us look at these things objectively. And we as Kenyans, just a moment.
Let's discuss facts as they are.
Eric, just a moment.
There is no court order that says stop constructing houses. Is there?
No, it is a program.
There's a court order that is in response to a challenge to the housing levy. And it is suspending the housing levy, although the court still said you can still continue collecting the levy. But there's another court, a different matter altogether, on discussing the proposed affordable housing bill in public participation. None of them has said stop constructing houses. So when the president goes in a political rally and says, nyinyi mnataka tuache kujenga nyumba mpaka ile siku koti itatuambia tujenge nyumba, is he being truthful?
Yeah, he's being truthful because one, if you challenge the collection of the housing levy, basically, you know that's the pillar that anchors the affordable housing program.
Are you saying it's wrong to challenge?
You can challenge, but being inhibitive.
But the court should not hear you.
No, being inhibitive. For example, Eric, you find that there are certain people who, when they go to get orders to stop government projects, they get ex parte orders. There are certain sensitive government projects which you can't stop. For example, suspending the Finance Act.
Why?
Like for example, Eric, how do you stop a country from collecting taxes? Where will you get money to pay your doctors? Where will you get money to pay teachers?
Sorry.
So if you suspend, just a moment.
I'm sorry. No, I have to ask this. Yeah. So are you saying that suspending the collection of the housing levy will stop other taxes that are currently being collected that's sorting out all these issues anyway? We're making it seem as though the housing levy, for example, if you stop it, the country is at a standstill and nothing is working anymore.
You see,
because of this one housing levy issue, it would appear as though all government operations have suddenly frozen.
Even
and
VAT.
That's not the case. VAT is still being collected. KRA is still going on collecting pay as you earn, NSSF,
income tax,
NHIF,
corporate tax,
income tax, corporate tax. All those things are still being collected. But it's appearing as though, from what you're saying, that because the housing levy has some questions around it, everything else has come to a standstill, and it's not the case.
You'll want to remember that at one point, somebody went to challenge the Finance Act.
Yes.
And there were orders that the Finance Act should not be implemented. To me, you cannot suspend the entire act. Saying that governments, when you suspend a Finance Act which is being implemented, in essence, you're saying that no tax should be collected.
No, you're not.
if you suspend an entire Finance Act.
Yeah, it means you suspended the Finance Act.
Yes,
but
and therefore, what I'm saying is that...
are you saying...
What I'm saying is
that there are matters that should not go before court because they will cripple the government?
No, all matters should go before court.
Okay.
But the judiciary should be sensitive on matters that benefit Kenyans.
And so when you are being sensitive, if the argument here is that this law is unconstitutional, should the judiciary say, it may be unconstitutional, but you see now, so let it continue in operation until... Are you...
what we are against is the opposition or other people who we call economic saboteurs going to court and getting ex parte orders. Even, if you have an inter-party hearing, for example, if you are given time as government also to present our case and argue our case before such orders are given, we respect the rule of law. Our president has always been respecting the rule of law. That is why, up to now, he has not appointed cabinet administrative secretaries, the CISs, because he respects the rule of law. And at no point did he say that he is going to defy court orders. He called out for those judicial officers who are corrupt. We have Kenyans who are suffering out of rogue judicial officers. We have cases which have stayed in court for almost 2 decades, which have not been concluded. If you can do a presidential petition for less than 14 days, why should we have cases at the magistrate court lagging to almost 500,000 cases which have delayed? And you see, justice delayed is justice denied. And therefore, we are calling out on those officers. And you see, corruption is corruption. When corruption is in the executive, it's corruption. When corruption moves to the legislature, it's still called corruption. And therefore, when corruption finds its way to the judiciary, we still call it corruption and we must call it out. Okay. And therefore, what the president is saying, if we have some officers who are corrupt in the judiciary, let them be called out.
Okay.
We have 72 cases.
Has he called them?
We have 72 cases. Just a moment. We have 72 cases before the JSC.
Yeah.
They have not been adjudicated.
It's ongoing.
These are ongoing processes which you are aware of.
For how long? We need to have time.
How long would you want the cases to take so that it would appear as though something is being done?
And that's why we are saying we shouldn't have those officers who are used to just give orders that derail government programs.
Do you know what it looks like?
You should not have a government that is constantly breaking procedure that matters have to end up in court. You can argue both ways.
And you see, Eric, for we cannot be that irresponsible. You know how the legislative journey is taken. A proposal is made by the user department, brought to cabinet approves. After cabinet, it's taken to parliament. Parliament interrogates that thing. It's debated, first reading, second reading, third reading. So by the time it's being converted from a bill to an act, Kenyans who have been elected, who have been given mandate by the people, have thoroughly gone through the bill.
Yeah.
The president has ascended to it.
Yeah.
Technical guys from the office of the Attorney General have looked into it.
Yeah.
And therefore, you cannot suspend the entire act and say the entire act is bad. How I wish the judiciary would have been looking at certain aspects. For example, if you say the Finance Act, you say this article in the Finance Act is therefore suspended pending hearing and determination of this matter. But suspending the entire act is actually, you are participating in what we call economic sabotage.
SG, unfortunately, what's happening here is that 2 issues are being linked, and optics matter here. If this issue of judicial corruption was such a pain point, we would have heard it come out loud and clear in the manner in which we're hearing it right now from all of these coffers if it was such a pain point. However, when we see that a determination has been made by the court, and then we now combine that determination with the, the issue of corruption in the judiciary, do you know what it looks like? I'm sure you do. But let me just tell you what it looks like. It looks like, okay, because they've made a determination that goes against the desires of government and what government is hell-bent on doing, we're now going to blemish the judiciary because of that. Meanwhile, we did not hear this vehemence about judicial corruption before this. You have to look at how it looks. So why was that sentiment not made clear previously? And now suddenly, and you know what happens? It's like bushfire. The president says something, and then from all these political coffers, everybody's now saying something else about this judicial corruption. Meanwhile, nobody mentioned it before. Why?
You see, I'll still stick to the motive of, I'm not saying the entire judiciary is corrupt. We are saying certain individuals in the judiciary. You find that we have these seasoned corridor activists who go to any court and they chase certain judges in certain areas or certain magistrates in certain areas. Somebody goes all the way to Meru to get a court order about implementation of government policy. Somebody goes all the way to Eldoret or Kitale looking for a certain judge that if we present, since we have unlimited jurisdiction of high court, I can get orders in any court. So on issues of, for example, the implementation of the private security regulations that were recently passed by the Private Regulatory Authority, somebody went all the way to Eldoret.
Yes.
Just to get that order because just to get the order because he has a friendly judge there or something like that. Well, so what we are saying is,
where should he have gone?
What we are saying is,
where should he have gone?
No, you know. Let me tell you one thing.
No, where should he have
somebody
gone?
who
if not Eldoret, then where?
But you reside in Nyeri. Why travel all the way to Eldoret?
In fact, even if you travel to Wajir, it is fine. You know, if I look at judicial matters in this country, I'm not going to go any other country. The reason why we have all these courts is so that such an issue when one is unhappy with it. Remember, we take matters to court so that they can adjudicate. And these matters of the Constitution, unfortunately, I, as a citizen, may not even understand it. But when it's taken to court and I read and listen to what is going on, my understanding improves. But if one isn't happy with the court ruling, one takes it to another court. It's a process that we have. Unfortunately, we can't run away from it.
And you see, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yes.
Our president has not said that he is going to defy court orders. He has just called up for a national conversation, and I'm happy the conversation is now ongoing. Because we all know that nobody is above the law. Even if you're in the executive, even if you're in the legislature, even if you're in the judiciary, you are not above the law.
You know, the president has a very difficult task.
He has just called up for a national conversation. And I'm glad the head of judiciary has accepted and invited the president to a dialogue table whereby, as leaders of this country, we can dialogue and know what is ailing our judiciary.
No,
and therefore,
what the president has done, Cleofa, and you know this, is he has not called a national dialogue on a matter. He has taken the matter to the public, and he's going to prosecute it himself.
You know,
he's prosecuting his own matter in the public. He's not inviting us to a national dialogue.
No.
So how is he getting our feedback in this dialogue? How structured is this dialogue? He's the president. He's got a responsibility. You said the president also as an individual. Unfortunately, at some point, the president loses that individual.
He doesn't have that luxury.
bit. Because at what point do we separate when the president says, hata Kenya hii inafaa iuziwe Uganda as a person? And when can you say that as a president?
As a president.
No, the president just invited the country to a national
let's talk about judicial corruption on Tuesday, really, as opposed to next week Saturday. You have to look at the weight that such a thing would bring.
Everything the president
he says will bear weight.
Everything. There is nothing that the president utters that does not have weight.
And just like any other citizen, he
is
not
like any other citizen.
There's nothing wrong by the president just calling out and calling out the judiciary on matters that hinders national development. And you see, the president was elected to represent the people. Yeah. The president has a mandate, limited time. He has only 5 years to execute his plan.
Yes.
Now, when you give him orders day in, day out, without giving the government an opportunity to present its case before the orders are given, you know what we are saying is that you wake up in the morning, you start a project. You start a project in Kisumu. You hear there is an order stopping that project. Ex parte.
Bona SG, back to the issue. The promise was to uphold the rule of law,
exactly,
which includes following due process. Okay. Just the example that you have now, and this is the what I'm telling you, as the top party organ, if Parliament allowed for the collection of a tax called Housing Levy Fund, and the fund has not been established, ask your members who are in Parliament, people,
what were you doing?
Where is observance of the rule of law?
Where is
so if somebody goes to question that in the court, surely you cannot beat them for asking that. And then Parliament, by its own admission, says, oh my God, let's now bring an affordable housing fund to cater for this particular question.
I think that is in order. Whatever judiciary is doing, we do not contest, because we also are beneficiaries of judicial process. You know that. And therefore we cannot say that the entire judiciary is wrong. What we are saying, let us have timelines. For example, if we have sensitive government issues, say the universal healthcare program, is it possible then for us to have timelines, say that this case will be heard within 2 weeks, but it's heard and determined within 2 weeks.
Okay.
But giving us a mention of June 20th, boss, we do not have the laxity of time. We have a limited period of time.
I wish you were prosecuting that matter that way as a party, not saying, hey, no. Tell your party leader, buana. But
so I tell him who said?
Eric.
An ordinary citizen.
Cleophas, always a pleasure having you.
Yes. Asante
sana for joining us. Cleophas Malala is the Secretary General.
And just before I leave, I would like to ask Kenyans kindly, join the ruling party.
Join the ruling party.
Join the ruling party. We have ideologies that we are selling. We've seen
Tosha news. Join the ruling party is the message.
Yes. Good.
We'll engage with you. Thank you very much. 10 a.m. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Good morning. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. The Judicial Service Commission Vice Chairperson Macharia Njeru has denied allegations that there is rampant corruption in the judiciary. He told SpiceFM earlier this morning that the ongoing allegations against the judiciary come at a time